let's stop this and get right into the game. I know you're as excited as we are to start this one off. Of course, this is our final game for EU. We've already done NA, we've already done Latin America, and we already have one team that moved on from EU, Room Factory, but now it's down to this. Supremacy versus 1UP, France versus Germany, and the winner of this best of 5 makes it to the Invitational. Map number 1, Consulate, and it starts with a main hallway defense.
Interesting to go with that first. Generally, teams have been only picking that pretty rarely. To start off with that is an interesting choice for 1UP. Now, it seemed like you know, that the surprises were being brought up from Supremacy, but 1UP definitely trying to 1UP them on terms of playing something a little bit different. We had seen 1UP playing on Console before and bringing that Dokkaebi, for example, that we'd seen from KS, and bringing some of those different roles. Seeing you know, Supremacy on attack this time means we're going to see that glass that we've seen so much of from EU and Latin America. Hopefully that will work out for them.
One thing we were explaining yesterday, and we will say it again, is that more often than not, in Siege, if you want to defend a lower floor, you always need to take control of the floor above
especially if it's destructible.
Yes, especially in this case, because if you let this top floor go, where Zephyr's aiming right here, it means that you will definitely have a buck, in this case Bibu, that'll go all the way up top, buck the entire floor, and then as soon as there's a plant, it is almost impossible for the defenders to retake.
Yeah, but it's a situation where they can use that against them, of course, and shoot through it. So it's interesting, though, to see like the Blackbeard and Glaz. So that's a combo that you see every once in a while, but is rare because generally they do somewhat overlapping jobs. But when you have both of them, that can be a devastating attack strategy to just kind of blow them out of the water with that. So I do like that they're trying that. An interesting shield play there with a deployable shield by the Castle. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was a... Probably Castle put it there, but they're paraplaying behind it.
Yep, and he's just going to be staying in. This is very good because it allows the it allows your Ella to stay behind without being in your traditional spot. And since she has a smaller overall model, it's a lot more difficult to spot her. There we go, quick run out. Unfortunately, Spark is ready for him, only able to take down the shield, and Para on the Ella will be the first one to fall. Now Zephyr going in with the glass. But the glass, it is so good for Supremacy because now all they have to do is run on in, get a quick plant, because, and this is exactly what Brit is doing, because 1UP lost their first man and they cannot feasibly contest, have to play for the retake.
Yeah, they've already got the diffuser planted. That is a good start for that, and the retake's going to have to happen here soon. But Spark's doing a great job holding them off, playing that nice angle we see often. Or Fel already take down Hungry. This is falling apart for 1UP, especially the diffuser planted, but at least there goes another one.
Quick jump on the outside by both players, and they're unable to do much here. Rips last man alive on 1UPeSport, and Brid will take him down. Quick headshot to clean it up, and Supremacy take the first round. I think this defense early on was a big gamble, going for a hallway defense, but
it proved not to be a gamble in this case. They had a superior strategy and performance, and I don't think 1UP were as prepared to attack it. Like their lineup might have been for attacking a different bomb site, and we see a totally different lineup than we saw from Supremacy on 1UP here with Ying and Capitao. They do have a Thermite, but no Hibana, so they're definitely going for, you know, being able to at least open a garage if they need to, or the wall buck being chosen there at the last second. But it was funny because didn't we just have KS saying buck wasn't something they run very often?
It's not something that he likes to run all the time, but you know,
yeah, but he's gonna be the one playing it.
He's kind of forced into it because you need a buck. It was, if I can say this, a weaker part of Penta when he used to play on there and was put on the buck every single time. But honestly, here they needed this attack. Could have gone maybe better in terms of operator picks if they had a Blackbeard, because this turns into your normal setup, like we saw Supremacy doing previously.
10 seconds remaining.
But this is still a very doable push. This relies a lot on the utility of the Ying and the Capitao.
Yeah, he can do a little bit of area denial, kind of like the Blackbeard can, just in a little bit of a different way.
Attackers are heading out to the future.
Fortunate for him, he doesn't have the benefit of the Capitao changes that are live on the TTS right now.
Yes, I highly recommend you download TTS and play, because Capitao seems to be a lot more viable nowadays with the nerf changes.
I expect we might see some more of him. Nonetheless, though, we've seen a decent amount of him so far. And this is, there is a good start for using that Capitao. With nice gun control there, taking down the peak from Bibu. That is unfortunate. I don't know if he threw a camera and then just decided to push it further, or saw someone to go for the peak, but that was an unfortunate mistake after such a successful attack last round.
Hungry is just running around, opening up a few of the windows just in case there's somebody set up behind them. But you see a lot of focus on the bathroom. And one thing as well is that KS went for the FAL and not going for a normal CA.
Yeah.
It's something we were talking about yesterday, the DMR play, that's getting definitely a lot more popular, especially on the Blackbeard.
Yeah, and Buck's most of his utility comes from the skeleton key, not necessarily the gun. So you do have some freedom in which gun that you have preference on. And the DMR fighting these long angles can be really nice as long as you have the ability to either tap fast or aim very precise for a headshot.
And the important part is that the setup in the break room behind is very important. If you can cut your opponents off here, it can get extremely easy for the defense to just go for a quick wipe. Though the difficult part here is that Spark is set up behind. No, they have already opened up the mirror wall on the side. Though Zephyr will get a kill, and that is hungry to get taken down. No more Ying. She was running around a bit too much. And Para is just trying to push the mirror out of position, or Zephyr in this case. And well, he will be very successful in this so far.
Unfortunate to lose Hungry that early. It's great Ying play from before, but there's that power that DMR, even at close range, if you can aim for the head, and Vale picking it up again, showing they have a great attack on this particular side here. So it's been working out pretty well for them so far to kind of make it towards a 1-1 the way things are going. 2 versus 4 at the moment, and as I say that now 4 versus 1. It's all on to Brid, the newest member of the team, to try and hold this up.
Yeah, and a great push here from KS, immediately nailing the second headshot, even up close. Unfortunately, they do not have an Ash to deal with that reinforced castle wall in the back. And Brid left all on his own in the console front desk, gonna try to go for a C4. There's nobody for him to really tag at the end, and Rip's still looking through the hallway. Man advantage obviously will win out in this, and 1UP takes their attacking round. So far, both attacking rounds going well.
Yeah, despite the bomb site, seems they both have a good attack strat.
Usually it comes down a lot closer than this on both of those bomb sites, but I wonder what this means when we get to garage defense.
But it does mean there's a longer chance, or a longer time potentially before we'll see the garage defense, because attack wins means you don't have to switch defensive sites. But as I say that, of course, 1UP going to go and switch down to the garage. So this will be, yeah, the interesting one to see how this one goes down. Will this be the attack bomb site, or will it be defense finally for this particular one? Because obviously they're making that adjustment, right? They're saying we lost middle floor, that was a nice try. The gamble didn't work out for them in actual, on their defense there, worked out for the attackers. So in this case, switching it up, probably the smart call. CKS back on his infamous Mira plays.
Definitely one of the best mirrors that you can really hope to have on your team.
I guess the nice thing is when they replaced KS, they replaced him with the other best Mira,
yes,
Chalet.
with basically the best mirror that you could have. Definitely one of the top 3 in the world.
10 seconds left.
So we're going to see, if this team makes it especially, we're going to see a lot of great Mira play come invitationals from EU.
Now, KS, well, at least Mira in general, not to mention it too much, but Mira would usually set up one of her walls on that reinforced wall that was set in the second cafeteria room, and that gives direct line of sight into yellow stairs, the hallway, and also half of that garage entrance. So
yeah,
it is very important. I remember Supremacy have gone for a thermite, and 1UP have reps on the bandit. So what Bibu will 100% try to do here is get into piano room and then just try to buck that floorboard, but he has to make sure that they have some sort of cleanup of their opponents up top, and this is great. If they can impact that floor, it would be an easy pick for 1UP.
Parrot trying to get in a nice tight position. Doesn't have a shield this time up there as they're not defending the middle floor. But he's still going to kind of be playing high up, trying to keep control of the top floor. That's usually what you do. When you're playing down at the bottom, you're going to send your roamers up to be able to create chaos, make them take much longer to clear the map upstairs. And if they don't clear you out, then you have an opportunity to rotate down at the end. There's that impact nade opening up that hole. That's why impact nades are a very useful part of the utility, not to mention rotates as well.
Yeah.
So
it's not only for rotations, but also for opening up peak holes like this.
Yeah.
Now he does see the Twitch that was moving around, so they're gonna get some info off of it, but all the way in the back, it's Zephyr. And this is an extremely smart play from Supremacy, because keeping the glass in the back, glass won't really come into effect until that bomb's already planted, or the diffuser's already planted. So you can just keep the glass in the back, and Bibu will get the kill onto Hungry. So that is the smoke down as well. This is an awful spot to be in for 1UP.
Yeah, and there goes another player. Vale lost from 1UP as well. We're seeing a similar pattern here time and time again with these attacks just dominating each other. I imagine the midway point on this map is going to be where we start to see teams actually adjusting. But for right now, it's down to KS and Rips to actually hold this off against a 5-man death squad, slowly marching in with a minute left to do so. Not looking good, but they are going to at least be good operators to try and counter this to an extent, both high-speed, high-rate of fire operators.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
It's very important for Rips to not make any noise. And as I say that, Brid comes right in and rips his face right off. All onto KS here. But he's going to get spotted here by Bibu's drone. They know exactly where he's at. It's not really magic at this point. And Bibu's just going to be setting up to find a correct angle on the Mira. Can even try to buck the sides of this wall here from this spot. Spots Brid, takes him out, but takes quite a bit of damage in that 1v1. Now KS just falling back, trying to set up for more as the glass is spraying in. Spots him. Oh, KS nails the headshot. Zephyr going down. Unfortunately, Rafal is ready for him, and with a quick headshot at the 5.56, cleans up 1UPeSport.
At least KS put up more of a fight than the rest of his team there in a clutch situation against 5-man, because none of them were dead yet. So that was a nice play on the anchor, because he technically could have been surrounded pretty heavy. So that is a situation where I don't think we give enough credit sometimes to the pressure that comes down on you in clutches like that. To even get one kill is actually an accomplishment sometimes, because so much pressure on you to perform. You have to watch all of your angles. You have no teammates to watch them outside of cameras. Most of them are destroyed anyways. It's a tough spot to be in, but nonetheless, so far, that is yet another attack win. This time, we're going to go back to lobby here. We'll see if this works out this time. Supremacy going to be under a lot of pressure to try and break the mold and win their first defensive round.
An interesting part is that you saw Supremacy not really pushing the back of the cafeteria area until they had the plant already done, and even then, they only sent down the Habana, and that's it.
That's gave KS an opportunity to be able to counter a little bit better, just because of lack of pressure from behind. And that's why you want to get those flanks in. When you know there's one man left, you really want to kind of collapse at the same time from multiple sides. But fortunately, it didn't matter either way. They were still able to clean up the round despite losing a few men at the end. So.
And this time, it's going to be a main hall defense from Supremacy, oddly enough.
Yeah.
So they're going for a very similar setup as before. Now, we don't have a Mira being played.
No Ella as well, which is definitely a big difference from how they played it last time with Para playing that.
So probably a lot more of a turtle defense playstyle compared to a more aggressive possible run out.
Yeah, we could see some more roam. We could see it perhaps from the Valkyrie and the Bandit. It'd be more roam operator. Or the Jaeger actually would probably be a good candidate as well. Bibu probably going to play more in Projector. That's a good spot to deny, as we talked about, for attacking this bomb site. You usually want to take Projector, and that's why you usually see smokes there to deny that balcony entrance. They didn't bring a Blackbeard to be able to kind of fight from that corner like we typically see, and they don't have a Glaz either. So you're going to see maybe Para trying to do those long shots like we saw him do last time. And he is pulling out that ACOG, but he's trying to clear downwards instead of upwards, which is interesting.
In the meantime, it's KS that's probably going to be set up for that job, as we've seen how good his aim has been with the headshots. Basically, is it like 100% headshot kill percentage at this point with the 4 kills that he has had? And Para is just going to be droning in, making sure there's nobody waiting for them all the way below. Hungry's already moved up right in front of KS, and Vale is droning right in on Thermite. Rips has just come on in after having droned in, and KS is going to try to nade out the castle wall. Here we go. Will go down, and no ADS was set up behind that. It's a bit odd. Yes.
Yeah.
Pushed to the back, and there we see the smokes that you were talking about, just denying basically wasting as much time as possible from the attackers.
Yeah, and I imagine if we start to see the Candelas come out, they'll probably be countered with smoke, but that can be a way you can start to bait out more smokes. Here those Candelas right now, that's going to bait out potentially smokes from Bibu, in which case that's more smokes off the board so they can try and make this push sooner. Unfortunately for them, still 1 smoke left, so he's going to use another Candela. But he has 1 more, but he goes in anyways, takes the shots, catches him on the escape, and that was beautifully played by Hungry.
Now, Hungry, though, taking a bit of damage from the Bandit battery set up on the reinforced wall. As Rips comes in, Rips right next to the Jaeger set up in the back, and just giving information for the teammates as they're trying to push out the defenders in here, opening up so many walls with the FAL.
I like how he's using it as a long-range skeleton key.
Basically, yes, to some extent, with that penetration on the on the sail. Cameras.
Nice last drone there by Vale, and that gets Rafael down thanks to Para's kill.
And this might be the time for Supremacy to fall back. There we go. Zephyr is going to go all the way back. And they're even going to send one all the way below. So this means that they will probably try to take control of the stairs to the back. But Zephyr spraying in, takes down Vale, turns it into a 3 versus 4 at this point. Zephyr gets the second one as well as KS before Hungry takes him out. The diffuser is on the floor, and they need to go for the plant right here, right now.
10 seconds left.
You see Para coming in from behind. C4 is going to get thrown in. The Spark gets one on Rips, spraying right through. Diffuser is still on the floor, and they have to go for the plant. Hungry at the last second, but he gets sprayed from the back, and Spark will save the round. My God, Supremacy just shot them down every single time. It seems like these angles were so open, nobody was expecting anybody to come in from lower stairs.
I think what happened there is they spent a lot of time taking that top control, which did work out very, very good. However, there was a situation where enough of the people had escaped that and were able to rotate, like you were saying, to get these other positions to get for this retake setup, and that's exactly what they did. They went for the retake towards the end. I have to say, though, I think Hungry is so far my favorite Ying player. Just from all the performances I've seen, even where his shotgun plays have played in, when he plays the shotgun, I think he's just all around very effective with the Candelas, with the different guns. Good utility choices. I don't know. I just am impressed. Unfortunately, couldn't get the plant down because he had no coverage at that point, and they were just easy shot, no time left. Nonetheless, though, they did lose that round again, or the first defensive round, because all the other ones have been attacked. So Supremacy picking a different bomb site worked out for them this time. Unfortunately, that means they can't go back to it, and now they're going to have to figure out how to fix one of their other bomb sites. But that gave them a point lead, making this 1 point away from match point, which is essentially 2 points away from winning this map if they can pull it off. As I said, though, this is Supremacy's map, so it wouldn't be a huge surprise. But this is 1UP's chance to try and crack defense now. If they can, this could really go a little more back and forth and have a chance for 1UP to bring it back.
Now, still very similar setup to what we saw before. At least this time, Para is going for the Ela. This means possible aggression.
Yeah, Para played a little more tight at first, but then yeah, he gets a little aggressive, but he feels like he has the chance there. We've got that Blackbeard Glaz again. I imagine that's going to be trying to find some angles, but when it's trying to fight the garage, it's maybe a little harder to get some of those long angles, except for the garage door. But we do see some Glazes and Blackbeards playing in the yellow stairs. Para, though, almost having a shot here. Unfortunately for him, gives away his position, trying to pre-fire it. Maybe though knows now, and he's going to move, but Para's also going to move.
Not too sure why he already opened fire there. That was way too premature on the trigger. And Vale from the opposite side in piano room will be able to get at least the drone destruction there. Maybe seeing a jump in from both attackers. Zephyr from the back. I'm not sure how they're not already expecting a player in the back, and Vale is gonna go down. There we go. Brid will take him out. No damage done at all to Supremacy. And they've already taken down both the Ela and the Jaeger. This forces 1UP to just stay on the site until the end.
So far, as much as I like Para on Ela, I feel like that's been the big weakness on their defenses. He's been dying far too early because he's not playing the roam role properly. Unfortunately for KS, though, not catching that shot means they're going to get more control of that just above the bomb site in piano room.
And that's the important part.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. He does still have a
C4
C4 potentially, though, that he could try and counter with, because Buck gives away his position a lot as he's opening those floors, so it can work against you, but KS is going to have to be on top of it to get that, because they don't have some kind of pulse to tell you anything else.
All right, well, Spark just making sure that nobody's going to flank them from the top side. At this point, a lot of work has been done, so they still have around 30 seconds before they get somewhere. And as I say that, KS will fall to the Buck, leaving it all up to Rips and Hungry. And Spark will get at least one of those kills. Hungry, the last man alive on the smoke. But that floorboard is going to get shot to bits as the Thermite moves on in. Rafael opening up this side. Going for a quick push, maybe?
So
nope.
Brave.
Zephyr rendezvous from the back of the spawn. Hits him right to the face. Flawless execution from Supremacy.
What surprises me is these attack wins haven't even been down to the wire. They haven't been down to like 2v2s or 1v1s. It's been like sometimes 5 alive, sometimes 4 or 3. But that seems to be the lowest it goes to, and now we're on match point because of that, because Supremacy are able to do that as well as their defensive rounds now, but they're going to do downstairs with a little bit of a different setup, a mute and an echo to try and change things up. A lot of denial here along with the smoke and battery, so it's like combined with the Mira as well. This is like a pure denial team, not necessarily plant denial, but just denying map control, denying being able to put the plant down, denying being able to open things up. So that is a nice stonewalling team for their last round. And as I've said before, when you're on match point on defense, perfect place to be in most maps because now you have control, you have the upper hand. And an all denial team like this is just going to burn so much time. As long as, for example, Spark doesn't go roam too far, or we don't see Rafael trying to get into a gunfight instead of using his drone. Things like that could be big mistakes, but overall, you can even actually play the mute on a roam once he's got his jammers down fairly effectively, and he's got a C4 to do some work as well. So overall, I'm really favoring Supremacy on this, not just off past performance, but off their setup and bomb site and points.
The only thing that, okay, they're even going to set up their own murder holes in Piano Room, which is not something you always see. You kind of want to have it. If you could reinforce the floors,
you would, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But now the thing is, a lot of teams would maybe, instead of going for an echo like Rafael is for complete info denial and a turtle play style, would be going for possibly a pulse or a castle as well. Just because you can have a castle barricade to the back, protecting you from anybody moving from the back staircase into your lower hallway.
Yeah.
But so far, I think this is very, very much doable for Supremacy. KS still holding on to the FAL. Not sure if that is a bad thing so far, because a lot of the mistakes have been coming from aggressive players.
Get at least one kill with it, so definitely not working out terrible. However, he's going to get in Piano Room if he does, and then find out, I don't need to do anything here. Yep. I'm just going to leave. So it looks like he's going for a different route instead. Rafael actually using his drone to catch him, or using other people's drones and cameras rather to catch him, and then just going to rotate off. Interesting playing so aggressively upstairs for not much you get out of it in terms of getting any kills or anything.
Here we go, kill number 1 for Bibu. Still head up in the press room, spots the second, but KS will nail the headshot. It's pretty much like every single kill is a headshot at this point. And
well, just like I said, yeah, when you have that DMR, you don't need many shots, and you're definitely going to get a kill with that. Nice long range with the ACOG. He is doing some bucking upstairs nonetheless, though. Decides, maybe I'm not going to use your holes because obviously you want them there. I'm going to make some of my own. Hungry back on that Ying again as well. We'll see if they can make some damage happen here because Para going down early is a big problem for them.
Yeah, this is the important part. No one from 1UP has so far done anything about the top floor. And this leaves it completely open because Spark is all the way up top, and he can definitely drop down. Definitely catch the Ying off guard in this.
Also to note is they've got no Hibana for any of the hatches, and they've got no thermite. Or I mean, they got the thermite, but they got nothing to be able to do from the top-down control outside of Buck to be able to shoot down from above. So it's all on thermite to do his job properly, or they lose a lot of ability to attack.
All right, KS is going to open up the mirror wall here, just maybe forcing at least one player to push up on him now. He still would hear Spark jumping down, but as I say that, Spark just stays up top and KS walks right into his line of fire. Unfortunately, nobody cleaning up the top side, not too sure, and we still have 45 seconds left. That's a lot of time that has been wasted very successfully by 1UP.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
I like Hungry checking for cameras there, just making sure if he goes in, they're not going to be able to see him right away. And he does have some smoke to go with these Candelas. Smoke's first, Candela's out. Got to go for the plant now. That means Thermite's got to get in there as well.
He's going to plant very much ahead.
Nice.
And Hungry will get the shot on Zephyr. Rips will get the second on the mirror. Turns it into a 2v2. Cannot save his teammate Vale, unfortunately. Now it's Spark and Rafael all the way in the back. They have to go for the plant, and they choose A. The Echo drone is falling right next to Hungry. And might just be seeing a quick denial. Spark gets one that trips down on the floor. Hungry last man alive. No time remains. And the defenders of Supremacy will win this one out 5-1. Absolute demolition derby here. Supremacy, the French team, demolishing.
There's a reason why they like to start with this map every time. I mean, that's the way you want to start winning.
This is their best map, if you will, a very favored map for them. In my mind, if 1UP were able to take map 1, then they could chain it into a 3-0. Because a thing about Supremacy is that they are a very, very emotional team. And if you can, quote-unquote, tilt them early on, then you can definitely just continue the streak. It's very difficult for them to go back into the groove.
Well, now the next map is the pick from 1UP. So the question is it the pick that they wanted, or is it the pick they ended up with because of the bans?
Because Oregon and Borderland, may I remind you, have been banned.
We absolutely expected Oregon to be within the first two, and the fact that it's not, may or may not have thrown 1UP off. I have to imagine they expected Consulate was going to be there in the top. I didn't necessarily feel like their strategies were the best on attack, but they definitely worked. However, defense was a problem, as you can see from Parrot trying to make constant jump outs, constant run ups on people. Was more effective as Capitao, as you can see here. That was definitely his stronger role.
I can't imagine what it's going to be like once the Capitao changes come into play, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. KS still trying to perform as well as he could, but we saw a lot of clutch situations on attack from Hungry and from KS on defense. So between those two, there were kind of a lot of pressure on them, basically, especially if Para died. Spark had some nice plays, just all around Supremacy.
And that's the important part, though. On that final round, as much as 1UP has done, it's like nobody cleared up the top floor. Rips was always there. All he needed to do is just be, and at the end, the Ying did an extremely smart thing of just not walking through the hallway and pulled back and used the exit to go around, whereas KS just was in the bathroom, was in a favorable position, just fell back into the hallway just for a quick peek. Not too sure why, and he just got shot down, where he was in a fantastic position to counter any of those, those flanks, because what's the Buck gonna do at that point? The Buck, if he can just stay up top, open up a couple more holes and more information and maybe a kill or two for his teammates, it's more than enough.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's a situation where like they still had pretty good attack rounds for the most part. It was just down to their defenses really being weak. Had they had better defenses early on, I think we would have seen a much closer situation maybe over time. But nonetheless, I imagine that's something they can work on and study from what just happened with Supremacy, because there's still fully a chance that they're going to be going all the way here. And Supremacy is not going anywhere from Pro League as well, so they'll definitely be around. And I imagine next season, Consulate's going to be a big thing for them, especially with some of the changes being made. Overall, though, I'm looking forward to seeing how Chalet goes with this lineup here between these two, and whether or not 1UP picked the correct map to take Supremacy on.
I wouldn't be too surprised if we go for a game room defense at this point, because when they throw out a hall defense on round 1 of Consulate, it means you are prepared to just throw things out. But let's head into map number 2, Chalet, between Supremacy and 1UPeSport. Keep in mind that map number 1 was won by our resident French team, Supremacy, and this means 1UP have some more work for them to do.
Now we've got Hungry back on that Ying, and I still definitely stand by that. I think he's one of the best Yings players that we've seen, and we saw that on the last map. Sophia being played by KS, he was talking about earlier, something they were doing more so than him playing Buck, which they seemed almost forced to do on Consulate. So maybe he's going to feel a little more comfortable this time. But again, this was their map pick. They maybe have some more solid strategies they feel more confident in. Question is whether Supremacy can counter that. Supremacy are a team that really like to play a lot of the kind of older ops, I've noticed too. They're a team that they really stand by the Valkyrie, the Bandit, the Jaeger, and then of course Mira being an important part of a lot of strategies, as well as Smoke. I don't see a ton of deviation from that over this, I'd say the past year or so, from Supremacy, and well, it still seems to be working for them for the most part. They don't feel like they have to incorporate newer operators in, and
they just get better at what they're already pretty good at.
Absolutely, and they're definitely refining strategies that they feel confident in. It's just a question of whether or not the other teams can find weaknesses in those because of the lack of brand new things. As we see, of course, Ying, Zofia, even Habana's kind of newer, on the attacker side, they're obviously totally willing to change up things and bring that.
Now, I am, as KS was saying during the interview, that they're willing to change things up. I'm very happy that we see Zofia being played in here, because there's a lot of ways that you can push the line defense by having a Ying and a Zofia. Flashes are now exponentially stronger.
Because they can be followed up with a grenade or a concussion.
Yes.
Although the concussions will be a little bit weaker in the near future after the TTS changes, they're still very effective for the moment.
Well, KS holding off on the library balcony. They're trying to, at least Supremacy here, get that first frag for the team before falling back.
He saw his gun there.
So he knows what's up. He knows that he might need to go for a 1v1 fight. He sees Zofia ready for Bibu, but he only takes 50% damage, and KS will be the first one to fall. All over Hypa for this.
Yeah, you got to worry about that gun length. One of those things you don't think about all the time, but you wish you had an SMG sometimes to go in on those just because of that. We do have Habana, which we didn't see a ton of last map. Going to be part of this as well. they're having a lot of trouble just taking game room here, and that's a big problem when you're trying to take the downstairs. This is not something you see a ton of defense usually put into when you're trying to defend downstairs, but it's working out really well for Supremacy so far because it's already been over a minute and a half. They've lost one attacker. They're not making a ton of progress. And there's that fuse style play that we only see from Hungry so far, really paying off.
And this is extremely rare to see from a lot of teams. Like, a lot of people, including us, forget that Ying can do this and
I think
can be extremely effective.
Only time we saw it before was Hungry playing it during the previous playoffs.
Less than a week ago, basically.
Yeah.
And he was extremely good at basically doing this, pushing away roamers that are setting up in hard points, if you will, making it a lot more complicated for the attackers to move in, push them away with a flash. You don't just have to roll in, you can just put it from top. That way, you don't have to deal with the ADS.
We saw how good that is with a hatch drop as well. But Rips, unfortunately, hopefully he was able to use that shock drone. They're trying to open up that garage door for Veil to Habana. I'm not sure if they got a chance to, but that's something they really need to get going here. Bibu doing a great job on the roam, though. In the meantime, is going to make this hard for him, as Brit also doing it, and that is just a massacre from roamers there, down to just Hungry and Veil. Look, it looks like they did get it open.
This is a great way for Supremacy to defend the lower set because, as you're saying, it's usually all the players set up down below. But here, Hungry gets one on Rafael, at least turns it into a 2-3, moving in with all the Candelas helping him out. And you see the way that they've set up this site for an easy retake. Goes in, needs to go for the plant out here. Veil going in for it, but Bibu will take down one. Plant's going to happen right behind
Operator, you are out of time.
It's just not enough. He was going to plant right behind of the trash bins, but honestly, with that little time remaining and seeing two players coming out,
he just like, I'll stand up, try and shoot him, because like there's no way I can make this plant now.
If that diffuser was in the hands of the Ying, would have been definitely possible, but in the hands of the Habana, that was all the way in the back, basically outside at that point, wasn't enough.
Now they're back. They're going to Wine Cellar Snowmobile Garage as well. So the question is, will they do something similar where we saw a lot of roam play, a lot of upstairs defense of the bar game? I don't anticipate something similar. They may maybe invest a little bit upstairs at the very top floor. Sometimes you see do from teams to stop them from pushing in from Master or Library. I just hope to see better roam play from Para because that was one of the big weaknesses for them on Consulate. It's a situation where there's a lot of roam play possible on this map because of the flow of it. There's a question of whether he's able to actually pull that off because they seem to just be able to eliminate him early on, and his aggression seemed to be very easily checked. So hopefully this doesn't just come down to KS trying to defend the site alone again.
Alright. This is Para back on the Ella. What I would really like to see is tone down on the aggression.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. Now you have Rips putting out cameras, right? That is the opportunity for you to take advantage of those to really use your aggression properly, actually check for people before you just try and rush peek things. So hopefully that's something they can pull off as Rips gets one of those cameras outside. So they have some idea. Hopefully Para doesn't get too greedy with that though and think he can go for an easy peek because Supremacy seem to be ready to make trades if they need to in those kind of situations.
Now, the interesting part is this is a completely different hold.
Yeah.
Because if you remember how we saw with Supremacy, we're holding on the
It's
lower
like a
side.
trophy hold.
Yes. This is, honestly, it doesn't really surprise me that somebody finally tried to do this because on Consulate we see this with a lot of focus on the top floor, not just on the lower one in Garage. Why have we not seen this before?
I mean, the big emphasis on this for me is the dining room hatch is the big weakness because once you have that, you have access down to that little wine cellar closet, and that becomes a big problem for a lot of teams when you have a buck or someone else with grenades or some kind of destructibility aiming down there. It really works effectively. It's interesting to see that opened up though. Bibu with the first kill onto Para again. Para, you need to maybe take a breather during this downtime.
That's the thing. He didn't get aggressive in this part. He just was in an off position because he had both angles to worry about.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him. Nonetheless, late cameras there coming out from Rips. He has put out all three now, though, so hopefully that was one that he really needed. But it looks like that Thatcher charge might actually take it out. Unfortunate for him. Nicely played.
Moving right in, going to spot the Falcon in the back. Bibu playing exceptionally well today, that's for sure. But there's the hatch in the back for the Valkyrie to push And we'll push into.
Yeah, they're kind of falling back a bit, which is probably the smart play at this point because they're losing control. Because the Supremacy are actually playing this very well in terms of how they're approaching this, winning their gunfights, getting the angles, droning like they need to, even using the Thatchers probably to disable cameras, which may or may not have been intentional. And then even these Claymore placements. I really like their attack. It feels very, very solid. The question is when it actually push comes to shove downstairs, will they win those fights?
All right, so Bibu now setting up. Is going to throw in an extra EMP, possibly. No, but this is actually great from the defense at 1UP, opening up these murder holes below.
Yeah, it makes it much harder to approach from the hallway side, but luckily for Supremacy, they're not trying that side. They've got one on either side of the doorway, which is exactly what you need. And that's why that dining hatch is so important. You see it exactly right there. He's going to try and
bandit trick from Vale. Is it going to work out? Yes, it will.
Last
Fantastic.
second. That was nicely done.
So one more Kairos shot left. They're going to try to time the EMP here. Going for one more. Bandit still going for the trickle. Nope. And here we go. It's going to have to fall back. As Spark will get one more. Rips is going to fall. A quick run out from Vale, but Rafal is ready for him, and the plant immediately goes down. Very good play from Supremacy, not wasting much time before going for that plant. And Hungry all on his own with the SMG-11 primary at this point. Runs into Hungry. Oh, Zephyr will go down. Hungry still trying to eyeball the second one, but there's a Blackbeard ready for him on the opposite end of this tiny open mirror wall. Bibu's just watching as well. At this point, what can you do? Nothing.
Just fall apart. And that, I believe, was another round flawless one from Supremacy without losing a single man. They just felt like an unstoppable force there, totally in control of what they were doing. I didn't see any real sloppy work from Supremacy. I mean, obviously, no, they didn't lose a single man in the process. Other than losing the Habanas to the bandit charge, that was the only real thing that I saw that they just didn't coordinate well enough. But wow, that was just a really solid one. And now they're going to bring out the Bar Gaming defense. We're going to see Hungry back on that Ying and Zofia again from KS. Similar attack lineup that they had last time that just did not work, unfortunately, despite some good plays. Will they be ready for Bar Gaming is the big question, because Supremacy have just been... So far, Supremacy have dropped one round out of the 7 that they've played, or the 8 that they've played.
Now, for this sort of defense,
Hungry.
you definitely want
located by attackers.
Fortitude. Not too shabby. Arrest is just complete donut at this point. That is not a good spot.
That's not what you want to see, definitely, in the finals.
Yeah, now, an important part of this defense as well is holding the library, because it gives so much access to, for example, a Buck or even a Twitch that has charges instead of going for a Claymore.
Yeah, and this is where we can see Hungry playing some of that. He did that last time into the bar, for example, because you can open up the hatch, I'm sorry, in the game room, and just drop down after you hit that Candela from above. You may see that again.
The interesting part is that hatches are open.
Yeah, so they obviously don't really care. They want to be able to play up top if they need to, but they only have one up top so far. As they say that Rafael going to rotate up. They do want to make sure they have control. That's not too unusual, though, to open that game hatch above from library, because you're going to need to escape. You can't hold library the whole round, generally. And the stairs can be a bit risky if you have someone coming up from blue, for example, which is a fairly common thing to do. Nice hit. Hopefully he got the mirror window. Hard to say till we see it, but...
One of them is still up, and not sure about the second where the bandit was laying.
Looks like he got it. Good hit.
All right, here we go.
Nicely done by Rips. That's going to be really helpful, especially if they could go over to K9 and try and get some shots down from there, possibly.
Yeah, why do you need 15 charges on that drone, right?
Unless it looks like 1UP's playing a lot more carefully.
So Rafael, the important part is that he is holding the stairs, but he also has an extra bit of reinforced, basically just a shield in front of him.
Yeah. To
help him out. This is very good because you can hold on very effectively to the stairs and deny rotations from the attacking side through it.
Yeah, so far they've done a good job at least slowing it down. We're seeing some use of that launcher there. There's a second shot.
They're trying to throw it right into the open hole in the mirror wall.
I think they're getting closer. If they got one from there, it looks like they're getting some effect in terms of kind of pushing them back a little bit, but it's already been a minute 30, no kills, no good map control taken. This is not a great start for them to get in and get control of this map, because library is still uncontested, really.
Very, very slow so far, but remember that site at least one of them is extremely close to the attackers, so there's not really much to do except for take a hold of the back. Para, unfortunately, won't be able to hit one here. And KS will fall, so that's the Zofia out of play. Para going all the way around to the master bedroom, but we've gone to the 50-second mark, and this is crunch time, and there's basically no setup just yet from the attacking side.
Yeah, it's definitely not working out. I mean, Zofia got all the utility out before he died, at least, but Hungry doing his thing with these Candles. There's that fuse style play again, but Para taking down one and getting traded back by Bibu was not great. Again, a great play from Hungry.
Oh, unfortunately for him, Rafael is ready for him. Rips though, will refrag. Spark will get another one, and Vale is the last man alive. Unfortunately, he has to go for that defuse plan, and Bibu is ready for him on the UMP. And yet again, we see 1UP forced into a last-ditch, last call, basically, last-second plant, and just Supremacy being on top of the 2-1. You can't really do much against that, and it's yet again the Habana and the Ying left alive.
And I think what's working out really well, too, for Supremacy is they know how to spread out for a retake and turtle spread out. They know how to stay in positions outside of the site where they don't die due to people trying to push out roamers, fight some good angles, try and bait out shots, things like that, and they don't lose those people, so when push comes to shove at the end like that, go ahead and plant. We're ready to come right back to site and kill all of you, and that's their defensive strategy that's won.
That's the mind game. Yeah. Because as soon as they see, okay, they're going to push, they pull back. At least most players will just pull back, and at that point when the attackers, in this case 1UP, they push in, they're going into places where they were expecting one of the roamers to be. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And as they try to find where that roamer is, they get shut down immediately. And it's basically the mind game bait.
They're also doing good crossfires, I think, with that as well, covering each other on those kind of spread out roams around the site.
A lot of practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, maybe some of it comes down to them playing the same operators they have been for a long time as well. Bibu, though, has been doing a lot of work. Hungry, and Bibu with most of the kills in the game so far. Just really, really ripping it up for the team. We are seeing an interesting change-up as well. We're going to see Para playing the Mira instead of KS. He's instead going to be on Castle, so that should be interesting to see if Para can do that. Again, not going to be on the Elo that hasn't been working out for him, so probably a good change-up for this defense here. See how well they can do on Bar Gaming.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been
Rips
dropped.
just setting up here with the Val Cams. And you see yet again this hatch will be an easy way of dropping out for the Mira if in case that that wall is taken down.
And they don't have a Twitch drone though to take it out at least.
Exactly. And this means it is a lot easier for 1UP to hold the defense with the Mira. And in general, their batteries are a lot easier for them to survive. However, you do have a Thatcher on the attacking side, and that is enhanced a bit.
But Bandit has 4 batteries and Thatcher has 3 grenades, so there is that. You could potentially just keep doing it as need be. KS actually playing kind of a roam castle here. Can instead go back to library. They have 4 men, it looks like, I think, in library here pretty much, or around library.
And of course, keeping the impact nade in the inventory just in case they need to just, you know, get out of there, just, you know, peace out through the hatch.
And that is definitely a good strategy. I mean, you could also reinforce the hatch to stand on it more effectively, but having his escape hatch is probably a better strategy for this particular site. So we'll see if that comes into play. They don't have like a buck or something they're going to hit that from below with. Nonetheless, Bibu actually, or I mean, not Bibu, Brid taking downstairs to clear that out. Probably a smart strategy because he can also rotate around there. So far, things really slowing down for the attack, but we've seen a lot of careful play from Supremacy in their attack, so this is not a huge surprise.
Disabling electronics.
First EMP nade is going to get thrown in to the back wall.
Looks like they want to push Bar more so than Gabriel.
And complete opposite of what we saw before. Second EMP is going to get thrown in. Now,
oh, this strategy. I love that strat.
This is the smart part. They have 2 places that they're attacking from, the hatch and the outside wall. And the third EMP is going to get thrown in to take down possibly the final Bandit battery from Vale.
I like how Vale tried to Bandit trick it, but Thatcher just did a great job hitting it and managed to stop that. This is falling apart for 1UP.
And you see Para jumping down with the Mira. There you go. Exothermic charge is going to get set up. Finally going to be able to set this one in. The castle wall has been taken down thanks to the Habana. Brid has utilized all of his Cairo shots. Hungry just setting up in the hallway. Now, smokes will get thrown out. That is the perfect time to do so. He's going to get spotted and even can get shot through the drone hole right behind him.
He's going to have to be careful about his foot placement because he needs to be able to move to be able to throw his smoke charges where he wants to, but they're really pressuring him out. Rafael doing a great job of that.
Seconds remaining.
Yo, little time remaining, and there is still nothing that has been done. Zephyr gets one, as Para and KS get one. Each Bibu, though, will refrag. 5 seconds remaining, and they have to get this plant down. Here we go. Oh, Spots of Thermite finally takes him out, and Vale and Para will get one each. A bit of an almost missed spray from Vale.
Yeah.
But you know what? Spots of Thermite at the last second gets the final shot, and 1UP finally get a run of their own on map number 2.
It felt like they took a page out of Supremacy's book and set up more for the retake. You saw the chaos. I think Supremacy did a fantastic job of having a different approach, setting up for that approach. You saw that they had a strat for it. It wasn't just kind of them messing around. They decided most people attack library, they attack from the game room side. We're going to take an unconventional approach because they're not defending fireplace very well from upstairs. And because of that, they were using the doorway to throw those thatchers and things like that. That seemed like a smart strategy because once they had enough control, Thermite played carefully. The big weakness there was time play because Supremacy did a good job of 1UP did a great job of not dying, so that when push came to shove during the last 20 to 30 seconds, they had enough manpower to be able to stop that, and the smoke, waited to use those, didn't try and slow them down too early. Like, for example, he could have started throwing them over the bar much earlier once that got opened up. Well played by 1UP, though. Good reads. And first Dokkaebi from them coming out. Hungry going to be back on that Ying, though.
This is the strategy that we saw earlier in the week around last Saturday, where we saw Dokkaebi coming out as well as a Glass and a Ying. And it worked out extremely well for 1UP basically every single time. They were able to time every single play and push together with the Dokkaebi charge.
And I'm interested to see if Hungry's like kind of fuse style hatch drops are going to work out for him in kitchen, perhaps, because that is a good setup for this. If he's able to take the master bedroom, he could go for let's go and do the cluster style Candela. Let's go and drop down hatch because that's been working for him because he obviously gets some drone work done first, finds out where people are sitting in defensive positions, and will drop and shoot. And it's been working time and time again for him. So this is a good place to be doing that.
The interesting part is that we still have not seen a Vigil play.
Yeah,
because on this site, it kind of works.
Yeah, and I think, Trophy is exactly the site where we've seen it work, and I've seen it, more often than I would have expected because people are kind of picking up on that. However, again, this is Supremacy, though, right? This is the team that's, look at who they're playing. They're playing the same operators, regardless of bomb site most of the time. But a kill on the board already for Bibu is not a great start for that Dokkaebi play.
Yeah, KS will get shot down. Unfortunately, it was basically the Valkyrie that came in to delay. But, say that, Hungry will get the kill on Bibu, which is great. It is a bit of a decent trade, but that's the problem. Bibu on the Jaeger has already used all of his ADSs. The utility part is done. Whereas with Dokkaebi, you have to have her survive because she's not going to be the one to get you the frag. She's going to be the one to ease your way.
Yeah, it's a mid to late game operator for sure because there's not a lot of utility for early game. Para, though, catching out. Speaking of some of that utility, that's a good start to this attack. Now that's less pressure off the Spark. Going to play very aggressive up there. Here goes Hungry Strats. Unfortunately for him, Spark is there to stop him.
He runs all the way to the outside and even prepping the C4 here. They're ready for him. Zephyr, though, from below will get the kill on Hungry, taking him out. Unfortunately, the Glass all the way in the back was not able to do much. And this is yet again falling apart from 1UP just because of the one Valkyrie from Spark set up in a great spot in office and not afraid to challenge when needed.
Nice play, though. Good adaptation, rotating around. Unfortunately, that close combat was not what Rips needed there, thanks to Rafael.
Rafael just running in, getting the shot directly onto Rips, turns it into an only Thermite plus Ash defense. They might have basically the only way for 1UP to be effective in this is to go for a deathmatch play, but with 35 seconds on the clock, it's already starting to get way too late. Spark still spraying through. Rafael, though, will get the kill on Para, leaving only one alive. The C4 is going to miss. Vale drops all the way down below, and with little to no HP and basically no time, going to have to run into smoke even. This is the last part of the defense, and Vale will just get killed outright. Choke on the smoke gas nade.
Supremacy just been dominating a lot of this play here. Just again, some of those smartly spread out defensive plays. I really feel like there's like a certain level of trust and great defensive positioning. like we were talking about with the way Spark was playing in that office. They know how to help each other out. Might just be their call-outs in terms of when they're actually playing those. They're getting good intel from the cameras. They're getting good intel from calling out from each other. When they spot something, they're calling out, and they're using teamwork. You saw, for example, you had Spark ready to go with a C4. Someone else got the C4 instead. They're both ready to kind of do what they need to do to help each other out. He didn't have to waste his then. So just excellent play. Already on match point, we could see a second 5-1 already. KS going to be, again, playing some of the new operators, bringing out Legion, trying to change things up at least a little bit here for their trophy room defense. Hungry, again, going to be on the smoke, something we see a lot in Paraback. Not going to try something different again, just going to go back to his Ella play.
Now, this is what I expect from KS, is to set up a barbed wire in trophy room right below the bedroom hatch. And that allows them to basically shut down anybody running on from top side, but also from the main window heading into trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting to see that Bibu, though, is going to play one of the new operators for once. He's going to be on Sophia, so we'll see if that change works. But hey, when you're up 3 points, you can afford to do something a little bit different. However, I'm not saying they don't have a strat for this. So we'll see. They are bringing in a Blackbeard, oddly enough, though, for this attack. Something you usually see maybe on the trophy window, but he could play it differently. I wouldn't be surprised to see Spark do something a little bit different.
Yeah,
maybe play it upstairs.
Yeah, either trophy window or also playing from kitchen window along the outside.
Or even K9 as well, spot to be able to guard fireplace with a little bit more coverage.
So you have that. You also have Bibu. Now this is the thing that we were talking about before. There might be a certain point where teams start to let go of Ash in favor of Zofia, just because of the extra utility that she brings. Sure,
I mean, they have in this round, in this circumstance. So
like, sure, it's not a 3-speed, but
that means more armor as well.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. Maybe a bigger hitbox as well, but definitely more armor.
An existing hitbox to some extent. Though Hungry is set up in trophy room. Rafael joining in.
There's that Spark on K9 we were talking about to be able to guard fireplace. It's a good use of that, and you don't have to stay there the whole time, but can help deny some early rotations while your teammates are trying to get map control. So I like the strategy. KS playing aggressively towards the office here, but it looks like Spark's not pushing. He could potentially push Spark if he had the right timing to do so, to just shoot through that door, not even have to risk his life. But maybe he doesn't know that, and now he's caught out by Rafael's drone.
Now, one thing to keep in mind as well, since the whole talk is now changes on TTS, that the 30-second change from 35 has not happened just then. Here we go. Not too sure. Para, yet again, definitely the weak link on the defense for 1UP.
Unfortunately, because he's a good player, too. I just feel like he's not playing to his strengths. As well as Supremacy also really capitalizing on mistakes as well, though.
It's not like they're giving him the chance to play well like he did a couple of days ago.
Absolutely. So Supremacy definitely dominating his play to make sure that he can't play like that. However, Supremacy also now with good top floor control. Now the pressure is going to come from the multiple sides to push down through dining potentially for the plant.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Bibu's still droning on in here. He's going to find reinforced bandit wall. Spark taking down both wooden reinforcements. Grid is starting to fall into the Legion traps, just taking a tiny bit of damage. And these traps that are set in these areas are just to get the defense some information on how the rotations are happening from the attackers, not per se to stop a full attack.
KS already low on health though, and the push is going to come to dining very soon. You could even see, for example, like Sophia grenades to be able to take him out from there.
Exothermic charges have been used on the floorboard. Not really the normal way of using it, but you know what, works out fine. You're going to see the Sophia nades getting shot right on in, and Brit walks in with 2. Finally gets dropped by Hungry. 2 versus 4. Reps and Hungry staying on the site, and there are not many gas nades left. Zephyr walks on in, takes a bit more damage. Rafael will take 1 out. Last man alive is Hungry on the smoke, and he has 4 players to go through. Unfortunately, even though he shatters the Blackbeard shield, it is nowhere near enough to take down Supremacy as the French take map number 2, going up 2-0 overall.
Unfortunately, the only one in 1UP is their score on these 2 maps so far. It's not looking good. 2 5-1s in a row is not how you want to start a best of 5, because now Coastline being Supremacy's map, this is a very bad position for 1UP to be in. That doesn't mean they can't come back from it, but so far it looks like Hungry doing almost, I'd say, all the work for the most part on there, even down to that last round there. The rest of the team needing to really pick it up. But I'm still, again, impressed by Hungary's plays, not so much by Paris. And I know we kind of sometimes we'll
emphasize
roast players a little bit and then emphasize others because there is definitely different dynamics on different days. And this is a situation where we see certain players just being key for either being good or bad on their team. And being 5-1 means there's definitely some players being bad or Supremacy just being amazing.
Okay, well, let's see how Supremacy played it out in the highlights for this game. Bibu definitely getting a clean shot in here on the defense. 1UP had a great round when they played the defense in the game room, which was astonishing because you're like, okay, now they might be bringing it back. Unfortunately, it was not the case. One of the rounds as well here, where they had to push all the way down. We saw Supremacy completely changing the game in terms of where are you defending that garage side. And it worked out perfectly for them. Fortunately there with the glass, couldn't really flick onto the second player, and just Supremacy in control of every single part. The lifeline being used here, and easy kills from the Habana with the bearing 9. There isn't really much that you can do. The flashbangs that were set in by the Zofia were extremely well timed because they ended up not only flashing the player that's by dining the dining table, but also in the back of the hallway.
And it's interesting to contrast, like, because we were talking about whether or not to play the Zofia or the Ash. Now, Ash comes with flashbangs if you want to use them, which we see very common because that was a change a little while ago. It could have been the same thing, right? You could have had him go in with the flashbangs, but the fact that he went with the grenades to concuss instead is a little bit of a different strategy, and I think it's worth looking at if you want to see whether or not which operator is the one you want to play.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that this score, 2-0, is not done just yet. This is a best of 5, potentially at least one map are coming up soon. But that'll be all from me and Emzo, and we'll be back with more from Kick San Antero that will finish up the day today with the EU playoffs, the Invitational 2018.
Welcome back to the Rainbow Six EU Rainbow Six Invitational. I guess Rainbow Six Invitational, the Six Invitational EU semifinal number 2, and the very last day of Super Week. From here, we'll be doing APAC starting tomorrow. But my name is Parker Intero Mackay, and I am joined by Michael Kickstar Stockley. And we just saw the conclusion of map number 2 between 1UP and Supremacy, and it has been
very dominant.
Pretty decisive.
Yeah,
yes.
It's very much in the favor of Supremacy right now, but we still have potentially 3 more maps in this best of 5. Should 1UP start their comeback here on the next coming up map, which is Coastline, I believe.
Yes, Coastline, and it's Supremacy's map. So they went to Consulate first, which is Supremacy's first choice, then 1UP, as we just saw on Chalet, and now Coastline. So it's been very dominant. 1UP only won 2 rounds so far. So if you're just tuning in or you didn't see map number 1, it was 5-1 in favor of Supremacy map 1 and 5-1 in favor of Supremacy map 2. And it's quite a big hole for the Germans to dig themselves out of.
Yeah, and again, going on to Supremacy's map pick of Coastline, it's going to be difficult, but in that regard, for the rest of the semifinals and finals we've been seeing out of the qualifiers, the map picks haven't really seemed to matter, especially in these best of 5s. And I think it has something to do with the fact that, of course, you're playing more maps in general, but that could lend 1UP just a little bit, a piece of rope to latch onto in this best of 5.
Yeah, so if they can bounce back on Coastline, then hopefully they will be a bit more prepared on Clubhouse. And absolutely right. We've seen, it always seems like the teams that pick the maps aren't performing as optimally on them as they could. It's been bizarre to say the least, but I think that's more of a product or a byproduct of the fact that you have to play 5 maps. So because of that, you are likely going to be playing maps that you are either more comfortable on or less comfortable on, regardless of who is picking it.
Right. So we're getting everybody in the lobby, and hopefully we'll get them all in here soon. Just waiting for one more player. They will be starting up as soon as that happens. So Coastline, an interesting map. One that I would say when it initially came into the Pro League and all forms of competition for Siege, it wasn't really met with a warm reception. A lot of teams opting to ban it out, similar to how they did at the beginning of Skyscraper's journey. But it has actually kind of risen now as a map that a lot of teams favor. And I think most recognize the fact that you can defend any bomb site on that map. There's not an indefensible bomb site. There's a strategy for everything. Even if you have your preferences, you have options. And I think that's why a lot of teams are starting to actually bring it in here now.
Typically, Kitchen is the one that is the hardest to defend
Yes.
of the 4 sites. We've seen Sunrise and Blue Bar actually been used by some teams predominantly in, of course, addition to going upstairs into Master Bedroom and Projector. But for me, it's look at the last 4 maps that have been released season by season that have potentially worked their way into ranked. Skyscraper, let's ignore Bartlett. Skyscraper.
It's a mid-season reinforcement patch.
We're ignoring
It
Bartlett
doesn't count as a
University.
DLC map.
Skyscraper, Coastline, Theme Park, and Tower. Every single time those maps have come into the fold, the immediate reception has been frosty, to say the least. And I mean, take a look at Theme Park and Tower, 2 maps that many would say, let's hope it never works its way into Pro League. Similar sentiments paid to both Coastline and Skyscraper. So it's nice to see that people's first impressions were a little wrong with Coastline, maybe, hopefully, because I'm a fan of both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I like Tower.
Theme Park and Tower. I like Theme Park a lot.
I know you like Theme Park. I still haven't warmed up to it personally.
There's 2 easily defendable sites on it. Why are you not playing it?
Immediately off the bat, I like Tower. And I know a lot of other people aren't a huge fan on it, but there's room for development on both of those maps. I agree that Theme Park has that Pro League potential. And, you know, the main point is you have to remember Border. Now, Yacht came out, and it was met with a frosty reception. It's still very frosty, very cold map, I hear. But Border, it came out, and it was seen as kind of the same thing. It's a DLC map, and teams aren't really going to want to play on it just for that reason. But it took like I'd say a season and a half or 2 seasons before teams were starting to see like, whoa, Border is one of the best maps in this game. And now it is one of our staple esports maps. And I think a lot of teams find themselves comfortable on it. I don't know of many players who dislike Border openly. So we just have to wait till people start to learn the maps more in depth, and that just comes with time.
For me on Coastline, I do like that all the sites are viable in the same way. It's similar to the way that we see on Border. There's 3 sites that are held on Border quite commonly. The one inside a bathroom and office isn't really used that much.
It's
but
the
we
only
see
one.
Customs and Stockroom gets used quite a bit from time to time by certain teams. And then, of course, you're going to go Workshop or Armory every other time. You know, it's Armory upstairs and office is probably like the most common place. And the same with Coastline, as most of them will defend inside a Master Bedroom first. And then you'll go to likely Hookah as your second choice. But some will opt for double bars. So Sunrise, and there are certain teams. So we saw Supremacy, for example, when they played Snook and Nose, actually competed on that map, if I recall correctly. But with that said, we're going to load up and head into Coastline in just a moment for what could be our 3rd and final map. What's going to be the big thing to look for as the teams assemble inside of the game?
Well, of course, it's going to come down to how proficient these teams are at Coastline. And as we load in, it's going to be 1UP versus Supremacy. But in the note of proficiency, the specific note of proficiency, what to look for here is the sites that each team can defend. Now, we talked about how all of them are defensible. Kitchen's probably the most difficult, but it's still achievable. And it's going to be, if one of them is having a problem holding a site or attacking a site, going somewhere else and being able to figure that out. So Kitchen, what we have touted as probably the least defensible site on this map, already, right off the bat for Supremacy. That's a very confident play there, but it probably, again, just has to do with their proficiency. And given that this is their map pick, I'm guessing they're very comfortable here, and they're going to probably give 1UP a hard time.
The one good thing that does come with the break that we just had is it allows teams to take a step back, get a breather, maybe talk amongst yourselves, because there was they had, probably 5-7 minutes between their previous matchup, and it didn't look like a team. Supremacy's a good team. Let me stop myself for a second here. Supremacy's a very good team.
Right.
They were the 2nd seed coming in. 1UP was the 3rd seed coming in. So they should be very evenly matched. The scoreboard does not show that at the moment. And I just think right now, 1UP is not playing to their capacity. Nothing to take away from Supremacy because I think they've looked very good. But there's been a lot of mistakes committed from 1UP, and that was my main observation as we watched the first 2 maps, is that they can do better than they did. They need to figure that out, and they only have 1 map to do it at the moment.
Honestly, it reminds me a lot of yesterday with Patacalypse, where you would expect a certain level of performance from them from what they've been showing throughout the qualifiers, but for whatever reason, just not giving us that performance, choking a little bit. And 1UP's kind of having the same problem right now. Now, they seem to be executing a pretty routine strategy here from the South Lobby and the Sunrise Bar. They did clear it out very proficiently using their drones and good teamwork and all that, but they're going to hit a wall if they don't clear out Billiards, which they have yet to do. We do have an Ella inside of Luggage Hallway prepping to push into Aqua/Billiards, and she is going to be taking this slow, but in a good position to get the flank of all of these attackers, depending on what she should do.
Nice control of some of the map, but still, the big issue with Kitchen that you don't need to worry about as a defender and you do need to worry about as an attacker is there is not a lot of play above it. You can take inside of VIP itself, but a lot of times the Kitchen push is going to come from inside a bathroom and from in front of the bars. We don't see a lot of, I guess, aerial superiority, as I've called it in the past, regarding Kitchen, and that's something that allows you to breathe easier as defenders, and it makes it a little harder for the attackers too.
Well, in this case, Supremacy is trying to put an emphasis on that, and it's actually working out great for them, as they stalled out 2 minutes of 1UP simply sitting on the west side of the bomb site here. Vale's going to get the first kill of the round, taking out Zephyr in the hallway. Maybe a little bit too much aggression there from Zephyr. All he needed to do was continue to sit and wait, but still, Supremacy have dominant control upstairs, and a lot of holes looking down to try and negate this push.
Spark comes in and on the flank eliminates Rips before it gets taken out by Para. That was the Ash waiting to reciprocate, and Raphael down will need to get picked up inside of sight. The Mira tries to slowly crawl her way over to the smoke, and at the moment Bibu from above looking down. Raphael will get picked up, and that's both the anchors now available on site as all of the Candelas will go off and completely blind them. Hungry storms in and takes down Raphael, and now there's only 2 defenders left. Para eliminates Bibu, and it's all up to Brid. The smoke will have to retake the site, dealing with Hungry at the moment, trapped inside of the bathroom. It should be a pretty easy pinch, and Hungry with a nice 3-piece on the round. 1UP starts strong, and that's what they need to get themselves back on good footing.
A good attack there, but ultimately they did spend a lot of time stalling out on the west, and it was a little frightening for a bit. Luckily for them, Supremacy got a little antsy and started looking for fights that they didn't necessarily need to take. More importantly, once the actual anchorage came in, when the push was going through the main doorway on the west side of Kitchen there was none of the contingencies that Supremacy had in place to stop the push worked. The Jaeger above did not work. The Mira got down, forced off, no C4. Smoker or gas canisters not coming out. It was a little bit of a hiccup there from Supremacy in the most crucial moment of the round.
And you got to wonder if that was just because it was a site that really the defense is hard to deal with. And that's what we said. Now, this will be the 3rd time that we're going to say it. The Kitchen is the probably least favorable site most
Still
of the time.
defensible.
Still defensible, but you typically don't see defenders having a good time on that matchup, and typically the pushes
Bomb
are
located
fast
by
in favor of the attackers, and if the defenders can't stop that initial push, which was the case this time around, it all falls apart very, very quickly because you don't have the ability to rotate back into the site like you do with
10
others. And,
seconds remaining.
I mean, we've seen teams go first with sites that they might have
5
pocket
seconds to
strats
insertion.
on, such as this, to catch their opponents off guard that are a little bit less
Attackers
commonplace,
recover the bomb diffuser.
and they end up
Attackers' objective is
burning
to defuse
themselves,
the
and they can
bomb.
lose momentum that way.
Yeah, and it could be what costs them quite a lot here on this map. But they're going to be attacking onto a much more common bomb site, and that is the top floor. Penthouse Projector, usually referred to as the #1 site for most people, especially in ranked, but at the higher levels as well. A lot of this is going to come down for the defense to holding Projector as a room. It is generally the pivot point of the entire hold. Now, if Supremacy chooses to try and push out the A stairs through the wall, it could actually hinder their attack, or hinder the defense quite a lot. But they do not have a thermite to aid that push, so it's likely we're going to see a much more common VIP take.
And pushing their way in, they are up on the DJ booth on the balcony just outside of VIP, and doing some drone work. Bibu droning himself in. Now, you don't usually want to be the one to drone yourself in. On a well-coordinated team, typically you want somebody there to be able to capitalize on that. Spark will now join Bibu up top and go on drone himself. So potentially could have seen Bibu droning for the Hibana, but not this time. Bibu manages to take control of Hall of Fame and just sends out a couple of those concussion mines. One of the beautiful things about those mines are that they will detonate based on proximity, so you will know that there's a defender somewhere nearby. You don't necessarily need to drone them out to find them, as the grenade will do that for you.
Absolutely. So the focus right now for Supremacy seems to be take VIP and open up the wall, maybe go for a plant just inside of Penthouse, but they haven't cleared out any of these roamers. You can see Para all the way on blue stairs and Vale in Aqua just looking to stall out the round for as much time as possible. Seems like a C4 from below may have just missed, and that's gonna hurt this hold quite a lot, and as the smokes at Candela start to go down, the aggression for Supremacy is sure to follow. Glaz using his smoke to his advantage and takes out Hungary, anchoring inside of Projector. Takes another one onto KS from Raphael as he pushes in with the cover of Candela's. And now it looks like the defense is falling apart as Vivo gets a third kill onto Vale, attempting to retake the site. Last two defenders left alive. Rips doesn't have a nitro cell anymore. Para's going to come up the main lobby staircase, and he's going to look for some frags. Nobody holding the aggressive angle, though, and he's just going to give away his position. Playing on the couch inside of the A bomb site is Raphael, and he's going to light up that Pulse, but not secure the kill. Goes for some shots on the floor, assuming he may have downed Pulse, but he has not. The last two defenders just contending from A hallway, and Bibu's going to sweep up from behind, allowing Raphael to get a nice shot onto Rips.
Did you see that couple shots with with the Ying LMG? Missed him every time, shooting to the left and then flicked to the right and completely avoided the Pulse humorously. And boy, does the pistol on Ying sound ever good, but we're tied up 1-1.
You know, the pistol's a much more concise gun than that LMG. A lot of people say about the LMG that it's just kind of floaty. You've got a lot of bullets, yeah, but you're not doing a ton of damage. The rate of fire is relatively slow, and the recoil's just all over the place. That's why you see a lot of Yings make plays like what we just saw there from Raphael, where you'll lay down a bunch of smoke, you'll throw Candelas through that smoke, and you will just use the coverage of your Candelas and smoke to get up and nice and close where you cannot possibly lose the fight.
That's also why a lot of people tend to run hollows or reflex sights on Ying, because it's able to make that recoil a little bit more manageable. Now, we mentioned earlier that Supremacy did like to go down to Sunrise and Blue Bar, and that's exactly where they're going to go second. So that's two defenses on sites that we don't typically see a lot of. Remember, they busted this out against Snook and Nose, now known as I Don't Know. And it was a pretty good effort overall, if I remember correctly. They were not successful against IDK or Snook and Nose when we watched them last time around in the regular season.
I'd like to quickly touch on the beauty of the attack strat we saw from Supremacy that last round. They positioned their smokes perfectly to obstruct all of Projector hold. Now, remember when we referenced Projector as the primary place to hold both of the bomb sites in Penthouse Projector bomb site overall. You need to hold Projector. That's why your mirror windows are there. That's why you'll put 2 or 3 anchors in that one little room. And the smokes disabled them. The Candelas allowed the attackers to then follow up with the kills and control Projector themselves. That was a well-coordinated push from Supremacy, something we've seen a lot of on that particular attack. And it's actually interesting because we've seen a lot of smoke strats from 1UP specifically, even throughout today, that haven't been working.
Jaeger up top, just inside of Aquarium by that
Bomb
bar.
located by attackers.
And look at the composition in the top left corner of 1UPeSport. That is interesting. And I think we see Hungry play a lot of Ying. That's not too much of a surprise. Para does very well on any 3-speed fragging operators, but the Dokkaebi and the Thermite on this particular site is...
The question is why?
Why? I mean, they maybe not have expecting it, which is strange, though, because if you do any basic homework on Supremacy, you would know that this is a site that they favor, as the first phone call / logic bomb will go out. They managed to determine the location of one roamer, but most of those phones will get silenced pretty quickly.
So that's an example of a typical Dokkaebi phone call, and it's not actually going to get anything done. Sure, you might have found that there's a roamer all the way over on the southeast side, but you can already surmise that by the fact that you're playing on Coastline and you're attacking the double bar. That's kind of predictable.
I don't know if it's just simply at the moment 1UP not doing a sufficient drone game. A lot of people think that the logic bombs will be used in aid with that to be able to flush out those roamers with drones because, of course, that audio cue from the phone will help you determine where they are in the room. But it's also not uncommon for the defenders to use that to deliberately bait out the attackers, thinking that they would be able to get an easy kill and just being prepped and ready for the push. And that might happen here, as it looks like Spark is on a collision course with the Dokkaebi, and Chaos proving that that SMG-12 is superior. And Ella goes down. First frag of round number 3.
Superior to the Scorpion. I don't know. It's definitely a stretch, but the kill, though.
But they nerfed the Scorpion.
They did. Well, they're going to nerf the Scorpion, and they kind of nerfed it in the past, but I don't know. I don't know if I call that a nerf. 4v5 now. 1UPeSport's in a good position, but at the same time, they only have 35 seconds. As Vale's going to eliminate Raphael, there's only 2 left as Hungry gets Zephyr, and the defense is falling apart man by man. Bibu and Brid, the last 2 alive. On the mirror window, Brid's going to be in a position where he needs to control this site, but he gets Candela'd. Vale eliminates his teammate, and Brid going to be quickly swept under the rug there by Hungry. A good job for 1UP and a nice attack. We haven't seen a successful defense yet, and we've been seeing amazing utilization of these Candelas from both teams.
Hungry on Ying just looks so comfortable all the time, and this is definitely, they've been 2 sites that have taken great advantage of the fact that you're going to attack from one direction. That flash is going to be able to brighten up a very exposed set of defenders and open rooms. And Coastline is an interesting matchup because on sites, or on maps rather, where there's lots of obstructions in the way, it's closer quarters, but there's lots of walls and doorways and all of that, it's very easy for the flashbangs to fail to blind them the way you want. Coastline is a bit of a unique map in the sense that a lot of these rooms don't have a ton of obstructions in them. There are a lot of very open rooms, and if you can land your Candelas effectively, there isn't really much room for the defenders to hide, and I think that we just saw Hungry take complete advantage of that on these 2 sites, especially the way they were able to open up that lower office into Blue Bar itself very well. And I mean, hey, that was a flawless round from 1UP too, and they've already done better in this matchup than they have in their previous 2.
And you see the same exact utilization from Raphael as well. It seems like both of these teams really understand her importance on this map as a whole. So it's going to be 1UP defending above inside of Billiards and Hookah, an attempt to delay the overall push. We've seen this quite a lot. It wasn't used very much by Supremacy in the previous round, which was kind of interesting. Supremacy instead chose to roam primarily on the east side of the building to try and distract and delay. It didn't actually work out for them. They just got caught on their retake. But we'll see if the hold upstairs will work this time for 1UP.
Key to Supremacy's push is likely going to be the smoke strat involving Glaz and Ying. And of course, Glaz can really bring the pain on this map. Though I don't know if Supremacy was expecting 1UP to go with this site. Now, since they didn't win on defense, they could have just simply gone right back to the master bedroom, but they opted not to do that and instead went with the site that I'm pretty stoked to see more bar play, completely honest, because it's used so infrequently by a variety of different teams. And right off the bat, Raphael takes the head off of Vale. And wow, what a play that was. You can see the castle barricade deliberately gets busted up by the defense, and a drone escort will come in as Raphael throws all of his Candelas out. That's all 3 Candelas used for 1 drone clear. But that broken hatch allows the defender to scoot away, which looked like Rips playing up top. And that bandit will safely get back to site, and all, with the exception of the smokes, all of Ying's utility gone.
Yeah, and it's actually a tremendous waste. I mean, we saw a drone right in front of Raphael. If he had simply waited about 10 seconds longer, he didn't need to use, he would have known that he didn't need to use any of those Candelas, and he could have saved them for an actual push into the site. But all the same, Supremacy does have top floor control, and they do have plenty of time as well as a single man advantage. So they've got to be feeling pretty comfortable here, and liberally using your utility isn't the worst thing in the world.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
It's right now 1UP turtling on site as they've got most of the roamers away, but Para still up top, ready to receive them. It's interesting that you've got KS downstairs that far off site as Amira. I would assume that as we hit the final minute, she will slowly start to work her way back to the site because you want that C4 available to stop the plant. You want that vector there to chase anybody off that you can peek around the Mira and potentially see. And now as Zephyr works his way towards the Sunrise bar window, the rest of the team is going to have to follow suit and begin to collapse on the site as we are closing in very quickly on those final 30 seconds. They'll work away at the wall inside of Office and open up the exact same panel that was opened up by the Thermite on the last round and provide them an opportunity to get inside, likely under the cover of smoke. And there you can hear them go off. But keep in mind, you're bleeding a lot of time, and there's still a smoke available. Rips comes up the stairs, but loses a straight-up gunfight to Brid. The Buck is not able to get a second as Para and Hungry jump in and put us at 3v3. And right now, it's in terms of health count, an advantage to 1UP. They also have the time working in their favor. They'll get another, and what a fluster. A big double kill from KS as Raphael and Spark get blown to smithereens. You can see that onboard C4 cam to finish them off. 1UP, 3-1 at the moment.
An excellent job there from 1UP. The way that they held that site was actually very intriguing. They were doing a mirror strat that at first glance looks pretty bad because you've got your mirror entirely exposed to the main hallway that leads all the way to main lobby, which is a dangerous prospect, right? But you had 2 roamers and 2 anchors. Those 2 roamers were prioritizing holding main hallway or main lobby and thus main hallway in the main floor, thus denying the flank of the mirror window. So Mira was free to play and C4 from her position, or in this case it was actually a smoke playing it, but whoever was on the window had a lot of control, whether on Sunrise Bar or Blue Bar. So a nice setup there from 1UP, allowing them to win that round, and Supremacy really just not sure how to address it. They should have put more effort into roam clearing. If they had, could possibly get those kills on the roam, those 2 roamers, and then cleared up all of the anchorage. But they spent a lot of time just upstairs.
The rounds that 1UP have won have been very decisive. They've been very quick, and I don't really think there's been much question that they have been very deserving, and it shows 3-1, and I think that just goes to show you that there really hasn't been a round so far where we thought to ourselves, well, maybe they could have come back. No. So right now, 1UP showing the potential depth of the map ban and pick phase, which is that you let Coastline go through because you're comfortable on it and ban 2 more priority matchups and say, all right, well, we're okay playing Coastline, whether we pick it or they pick it, we'll see what they go with. And it might be Supremacy's map, but you never really know how well primed a team is to compete on this. And there's a lot of footage as well of Supremacy on Coastline.
There's also definitely a lot of pressure going on to 1UP's shoulders right now, and that might be actually aiding them quite a bit here because Bibu's going to get the first kill of this round on Hungry, it seems, peeking out of the south lobby to Hungry, who was on his drone, just chilling. No coverage from his teammates means no refrag potential, and that's just going to be a quick utility advantage in favor of Supremacy. The main thing of losing Hungry is, yes, those Candelas and smokes. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure on 1UP's shoulders right now. If they lose this map, they will lose outright, and they won't be going to the Invitational. So they need to get this win. They need to keep the best of 5 going. So obviously they're going to be fighting tooth and nail for a win here on Coastline.
There has been no 3-0 either in the best of 5. We see a lot of 2-0s, but every team so far that we've seen compete has at least been able to win 1 round. With Hungry gone, not only are you getting somebody who is very comfortable on their operator, but that is a critical pick. Smoke's gone, Candela's gone. The backbone of that push, looking at those operators, is now rendered useless. And once again, Tokaibi, which...
She has smokes. I mean, that's what I was thinking is, you know, when we first saw her, the only initial thought is, okay, you can use her smokes and one of her phone calls when you're making a push. But still, it seems like she's a kind of a mispick. Why not bring a glass? He just... Dokabi, the phone call, seems not as good as just a glass shooting through smoke, to me.
I mean, we'll see where her place winds up being as more, I guess, players get used to her.
Right.
But, I mean, I think that the main hindrance with her is going to be her lack of suitable primary firearm. The DMR is not great, and the shotgun is not really suitable for Pro League. So you find yourself in a position now where maybe you could get more use out of something. With that said, they will work their way towards the bomb site in about to be a heads up with Supremacy.
Oh, Vale's going to hit that headshot on Raphael. Just narrowly not reacting to that, but Brid is going to get the refrag onto Vale. So an even exchange here between 1UP and Supremacy. Last 40 seconds of the round, and 1UP's are going to be hard-pressed here with a man disadvantage as Para gets a kill on the Bibu above, using the kitchen open wall to his advantage. Well done there. Spark from the roam, though. Same position where we just saw Para eliminates Rip, and it's a back and forth here between Supremacy and 1UP as the last 20 seconds come in.
Now they've knocked Para down, but that Toxic Babe does miss, not thrown effectively. That'll leave just KS from below, and Zephyr trying to take him through the floor, but a nice play from KS from below. Will now try to trade shots with Brid. Spark eliminates what was left of Para. That was the IQ down inside a bathroom. They're just going to need to play time. KS, however, does hold the diffuser. Simply tries to peek around that bomb. Didn't use the cover effectively, and Brid finishes off the Korean operator. And that is it for this round. Supremacy still trailing, but closing the gap. It's 3-2 in favor of 1UP heading into round number 6.
That was a beautiful round from Supremacy because they learned from their mistakes the last time they went into the kitchen. Last time Supremacy was there, they had the time. It was, or sorry, excuse me, from 1UP rather. The last time Supremacy was there, they had the time advantage, but they started to push out. They started to lose a lot of manpower for no conceivable reason. Then Supremacy lost the round in the last 20 seconds because 1UP came in and cleaned up house. This time, Supremacy simply waited patiently, and they won as a result.
And a good answer back, and now we've had 2 defensive wins in a row the first 2 times. So on this side, of course, both bars will be locked, double bars for 1UP, and then Kitchen will be locked when Supremacy goes to defense next. And of course, Supremacy will get at minimum 1 more chance to defend at the moment, because even if 1UP prevails, it'll still be match point.
Very close match between these 2 teams. I mean, this is the first time we've seen it. There's going to be a Ying and Glass strat coming out from Supremacy yet again, as this seems to be the thing that they want to use the most. You've got a lot of distraction in Ying, as well as the smokes on both, and then you've got the surgical precision of Glass, who can just pick off players as they attempt to throw their gas canisters, C4s, to indirectly damage attackers through the smokes. And that's, I mean, that's the solution, right? Attackers lay down smoke, you need to use your utility to try and get those kills. But every time you do that, Glass will be there and ready, hopefully, if you're properly coordinated. And Supremacy has been doing good had good coordination so far on those pushes.
Now, I would wager the 2 most used bomb sites, if we were to look at year-over-year statistics, would be Master Bedroom upstairs and then Hookah at top as well. We've seen those 2 sites combined. We've only seen it once. We have seen 3 kitchens and 2 double bars already, and that is a little outside of the ordinary. I hesitate to use the term unconventional for reasons
alternative
specified.
Sites.
Alternative sites, alternative strats, but I think the way that it plays into the compositions of the attackers is benefiting them too, and I think that's why the attackers have been doing so well. Is you have a Glass and you have a Ying, they can rain terror on Master Bedroom. They can be especially effective upstairs on Hookah and Billiards, especially Glass, if you put them up on top of Ruins, and then you have a Ying push, likely in through Aquarium, or even just go in straight through Hookah itself. They managed to try to track 1 member of the defense, and Vale just completely out to lunch there. Bibu gets first breath.
A beautiful drone game there from Supremacy is going to not only force KS off, but also eliminate Vale. Good job by Bibu to find that opponent and lock him down using her lifeline. He's going to be trying to contend with the, looks like Bandit inside a projector now. He has 2 teammates here to support him, but not KS using, oh no, it's Mira, excuse me, not KS using a very interesting angle between the couch and the shelving unit. Might be able to get 1 free kill if someone pushes Trophy Hall.
On some eruptions from below, the Ying gets taken down. Wow, Para climbing in and taking out Raphael. That's also Diffuser down, and now Bibu, who is inside of Master Bedroom, is a little bit all alone. That was a good rotate from Para. KS, long ways away inside a theater, tries to deal some damage and manages to take Bibu down, but of course, You also have the withstand ability of Zofia to be able to get herself back up. You just have to ensure that you're doing it when you're a little bit safe, and with one member of the defense playing underneath, that can be difficult.
He is going to manage to get himself up, though, putting it on 1 HP. But they do have top 4 control now for Supremacy. Not KS still in the hallway. Gonna lose that fight to Spark. Maybe shouldn't have lingered a little bit longer. As a result, Supremacy now man advantage, but only 25 seconds. And Para still in the main hallway upstairs. Rips eliminates Brid from below. It's a two-way street with these angles. And now it's all down to Bibu, Spark, and Zephyr. 15 seconds left. Rips gets another kill, this time onto Bibu on that 1 HP. Here comes the push from Zephyr and Spark. With only 9 seconds, the gas canisters are coming out, and it's just going to be a complete stall as Para goes for the frags, gets Zephyr, and Spark has no options here. He has lost the round, and defenders will win round 6, which means we are going to have a continuation of a match here, but match point, I think, in favor of 1UP.
And Kitchen prevails yet again at a very a belated push from Supremacy, and I think their biggest issue there was first of all, you can't take the site with 20 seconds remaining.
No.
When
I mean,
you
can.
You can. When you've done the
Yeah.
work to get there, but when you're primarily still up top, it's likely going to be a challenge. And Supremacy is going to fall back to what is probably the safest site for most teams, which is Penthouse and Theater, master bedroom up top, and projector, as we call it, or bedroom and projector, depending on the terms that you use. Supremacy facing match point against them for the first time in this series so far.
I'm sure they're not stressing it too much, given their tremendous map lead already up 2 in this best of 3. But obviously it'd be nice to lock it out here and deny 1UPeSport another chance at a comeback in this best of 5. So they're going to be going on to the, I'd say probably the most beloved site on this map for the majority of players, and that's going to be the projector penthouse like you talked about. This is very common. There's a lot of barbed wire going to go down inside of B, and then the main focus for Supremacy is just going to be holding on to projector. Now, this has not been working. The one time I think we saw it played, it did not work, because all that was necessary was a Candela smoke strategy where you lay down smoke cover for projector so the defenders can't shoot you as you come in, then Candelas into projector, and then suddenly everyone there is blind. You walk in and get a bunch of kills. That's exactly what happened last time.
What was I going to say in regards to the scoreboard, or what I was going to say rather in regards to the scoreboard is Para and Hungry, who reasonably should be your 2 top fraggers on the team, are doing just that. They have woken up from maps 1 and 2 from whatever, I guess, their slumber was, and with their success comes the success of the rest of the team. And who knows, Clubhouse favoring 1UP, we could potentially see them easily take that one. And at that point, you lose maps 1 and 2, you manage to come back, you got to say momentum is firmly in their favor, and that becomes an issue for Supremacy, who at that point will have spent a long time losing, and you can get very frustrated that you weren't able to close it out early. With that said, we see a push in through the bathroom, and KS looking to try to take away that barricade and then push in himself as they'll go back and do some more droning. 1 minute expended. The pulse spotted a Bibu, and that could have been a fight that the Buck would take, but Bibu peels off.
Technically speaking, if 1UP were to come back here and win 3 maps in a row, or even win 2 maps and get that far, it would be, I think, the longest comeback, if nothing else, in Rainbow Six history, because we haven't been seeing, we only just started doing best of 5s, right? And we've never seen a team down 2, if I recall. So this is probably going to be, yeah, if 1UP can win it and keep going forward, one of the longer matches we've seen so far.
That is very correct, yeah, because North America was 3-1, in Latin America, I believe it was a 3-1 as well.
Uh-oh.
But Hungry comes in, takes Raphael down as he primed and cooked a C4, and we'll see some more smokes go out. And look at that, they already have firm control of the site, and a plant going down so quickly. Chaos is able to eliminate Bibu and focus him out, as now Hungry's going to take some shots, but Para has there to get his back, and Zephyr off the board. Spark takes 1 down, but still 1UP doing a great job to ensure that they stay alive as they watch this diffuser to try to give their team the victory. And they have firm site control at the moment. The defenders will need to try to take control. Brid manages to soften up the glass and gets Hungry and goes for the glass, but can't do it. The DMR proving to be too effective, and it's Spark who's running out of time. 1 on Repel, trying to take care of him, and that's Para. That is a firm shot. Vale jumps into the fight, and what an answer from 1UP after 2 lackluster performances on maps 1 and 2. They managed to come back and take this series 5-2 to map 4 we go.
If 1UP can win one more map, that's going to be, I think, the first time we see, well, it'll be the first time we see 2 in a row, answering back to 2 in a row in a best of 5, so that'd be very impressive. But they're going to have to do it on Clubhouse, which is a fundamentally different map than Coastline. Coastline's a very open map. You have a lot of options, all sites defensible, and we saw what we would typically consider alternative sites utilized heavily by both teams in that matchup. Let's take a look at the highlights for the map. And Clubhouse, on the other hand, you have a map where it's 2 bomb sites, and one of them's not even that good.
And the other thing, too, though, to keep in mind is if you're going to be using a Ying smoke strat, there's a way to make that work on Clubhouse, especially in the basement. There's absolutely a way to make it work, and you can have one push dirt tunnel, you can have one drop from the kitchen. We see Ying employed an awful lot at that kitchen hatch, and I think that's going to be a major focus for them. And then, of course, the dreaded smoke push into stock can also work, too, and we will have to see if that plays into account at all.
We've been seeing a lot of that exact Ying strat coming out for kitchen and construction tunnel, but it hasn't been very successful in the qualifiers, at least. I mean, it's definitely it's a known strategy. Oftentimes what will happen is the defense will just open up all of Armory Wall to counteract that specific one, because it's hard to get smokes in just the right place every single time.
Right.
Even though it's achievable, it's difficult. And oftentimes a little bit of a hiccup of miscommunication, like on that last round we just saw, even though 1UP won that round, their smoke placement was terrible on the initial push. They got a little bit lucky with the Mira peeking around at the wrong moment, and they didn't have to deal with any immediate anchors. And then also the Yokai drone, the Echo, off in no man's land.
I feel that most of the pushes were won by a Ying, but not because of her ability, but because of the raw fragging potential of Hungry, and he seemed to be the opening salvo for 1UP on a number of occasions. You saw he'd storm inside, he'd either blind somebody or simply just get a smoke down and just run in, as if Supremacy wasn't expecting such, I guess, in-your-face style of aggressive play. And when you've got fraggers like you do, you have Hungry and Para, who of course are 2 new members to the team. They did not play for Mysterious Monkeys from what I recall. They joined, or well, technically they did, but they didn't play for them last season because 1UP picked them up shortly after they joined. And now, of course, KS. There's no shortage of gunpowder. Skill.
Yeah.
Or was the word I was using for gun skill, I guess, yeah, in that
Fragging
case.
potential.
Yeah, firepower.
Firepower. There it is.
Brain sometimes doesn't work. That's okay. But that said, we'll load into the game for you. And we'll start with Clubhouse, map number 4. This is 1UP's pick, and they will start off on attack and let Supremacy have the honors of going to defense first.
So, Church Arsenal Room is going to be the hold, obviously, and we are going to be seeing a continuation of these smoke strategies coming out from 1UP. I'm expecting that to be reflected with Supremacy. Smoke strategy on both teams. I think you called it at the beginning there. That's probably going to be the strat. A lot of teams have actually been switching over to this, at least in the European region. Ying, one of the more played operators in this matchup especially. I think we've seen Ying almost every single round. I would wager, safe bet, 95% of rounds we've seen the Ying there in this specific match. Now, on a basement hold of Clubhouse, for those of you not familiar, typically speaking, what's going to happen is every single defender will anchor down in the sites, and we will see little to no roamers because they are so easy to find and pinch on the attack. We'll see how Supremacy chooses to do that, though. It's likely they'll follow true to that meta.
You likely have the pulse inside of the western part of Armory, just underneath the kitchen. You'd imagine so, at least. Sometimes we will see a pulse go up top inside of cache, but then you're very susceptible to a pinch, and that's going to weaken your overall hold. And of course, I don't know how many times we need to say it, but Clubhouse has probably the only site that is truly viable to have 5 anchors sit on and hold down.
I think it's more that you can't have roamers. I mean, obviously the anchors, yeah, but it's the fact that your roamers are going to get pinched so easily. As you can see here from the drone game of 1UP, they have cleared out almost all parts of the top 2 floors in under a minute. They know that there is not a single roamer, and there isn't. All of the defenders playing downstairs, and that's just typical Clubhouse basement hold. Now, you can see We have the Brid Pulse inside of Western Armory, like you said, gathering so much information. He's going to be telling the defense, they're coming from kitchen, they're inside the main hallway upstairs, they're outside of kitchen, they're going towards construction tunnel. From this position, they're going on main stairs to push the downstairs hallway. From this position, you have so much information gathering potential, and that's one of the reasons that Supremacy is going to know where at least 3 or 4 of the attackers are all the time. You can see Hungry, he's shooting for the garage camera, probably gonna get it.
It's hard to tell. I mean, that was quite a lot of work he did to try to take care of it. And
he probably knows the exact angle. You go into custom maps and you're like, hey, I wonder if I could shoot the camera. Let's see, maybe Marsu can show it to us. I don't think he can get the right angle, unfortunately, because it's mounted on the roof. But I'm guessing they got the camera.
And they've hit most of the hatches now as well, at least the ones that they need, as they managed to get bar hatch open. And inside of A, they see that there are a couple sitting down in church. The glass over top of Rips, but they will need to begin pushing. As you hit 1 minute, this is about the right time to do it. Bibu, the Ella, inside of Dirt Tunnel. She's poised to run in. The Pulse trying to get the bug from above. We'll throw a C4, and there's nobody close enough to really do any damage. The Hibana Veil just outside of range. Same with Para, as they, I guess, go for a ring around the Rosie from above. A frag will get cooked. And will it be able to get the smoke in time? No, but it does a significant portion of damage, and Raphael gets away with just a shred of health, and he'll go for round number 2 as Para drops a frag down. He'll down him, and he'll need to be reset.
A reminder, there are no point notifications, so 1UP doesn't know they've downed them, but there is going to be a push here from 1UP as they go into Armory, will eliminate Brid. C4 not seeing any use, and nor will the heartbeat sensor. Through the smoke, Rips eliminates Raphael, trying to rotate, but Bibu inside of Construction Tunnel in a good position to retake this site as he eliminates Chaos. He's going to come out after the plant, though, and Rips will eliminate him. Para takes out Bibu, and Zephyr's the last defender alive as he comes out of blue. He will hit a nice snap onto Veil's head, but he's got to find 3 more. 1 on the drop down, 1 back of Armory, 1 in the other site. He's going to get lit up from that drop down, but not taken down. Zephyr on 1 bullet worth of HP. Not in a good position here. Contesting the drop down, it will be Rips to finish him off, coming up from behind. A good attack from 1UP, using those smokes and candelas to their advantage, as you predicted at the beginning of this match.
And a kitchen push is all it took. They're able to drop in and bring the pain. And who was the person who got the very first frag that round? Unsurprisingly, the Ying of Hungary. Once again, just dropping down and being able to lead off for his team. And a great shot from Zephyr, but still had 3 more of those defenders to work through, and just weren't able to secure those kills. And I mean, look at how methodical 1UP was able to clear out that entire first and second floor so quickly. And that gave them a lot of opportunity to make sure that they had lined up and done their due diligence to know where the defenders were. And then when they dropped, they got 2 frags right off the bat. That's all it took.
Now, the importance of that win cannot be understated. Basement Clubhouse is your reliable bomb site. It's your winning bomb site for defense. So if you win them on attack, if you win that attack, that puts your team in a very commanding lead. All 1UP needs to do is now prevent, of course, that happening to them. But again, I think they're going to be plenty capable, as it seems 1UP has definitely woken up in the second half of this best of 5.
Yeah, all their players have been playing better. They've been playing smarter. They haven't looked as out to lunch. And I mean, one of the things for me to take away from maps 1 and 2 on both Consulate and Chalet was that just 1UP's actual ability to win fights did not appear to be there.
It was non-existent.
It was just Supremacy running rough sod all over them.
Yeah.
And there was no way for 1UP to fight back. They looked simply overwhelmed, and now it looks the other way around. It's Supremacy who's basically waiting on the site to die in most of these rounds to 1UP. And it could be the maps, it could be confidence, it could be that 1UP just was cold to start off with. But this is the matchup that you need to see between your 2nd and 3rd seed in the tourney bracket. It needs to be this back and forth between the 2, and we're treating us to a very good show at the moment. Round number 2, 1UP continuing their reign of terror for the time being.
Typical drone game and roam clear on Clubhouse Basement. No roamers to be found. They will eventually start their actual push. Usually takes about a minute to get that done, and they're going to have to deal with Bandit, who's trying to fight on the main staircase downstairs. That's very dangerous. Buck likely to open up the floor where those stairs are to push Rips off that angle. Reinforcement into the hallway wall upstairs will mean that Brid cannot buck open the armory wall where he wants to. He's instead going to be forced to use the wall slightly to the left, which it also means he won't have an angle deep into armory, allowing whoever's playing on the B bomb to play nice and safe and comfortable.
Don't know how they're looking to employ that thermite, but he does have an opportunity to open that wall up from above. It looks like they're going to use him to get at least one of the hatches. That is a curious use of that exothermic charge before ripping it right back off. I'm not certain what they're thinking here, but they get the kitchen hatch quite easily, and now 1UP's defenders will all scatter to stay out of the way.
Brid just looking to open up some angles. Rip still at the bottom of the stairs, will be droned out, and the marks are coming. Brid's going to try and capitalize, but no. Rips will fall back. Very wise that he chooses to fall back in that situation. He almost cost this team one man for no reason, but a lot of time has been stalled for Supremacy, even if we haven't had a straight-up engagement.
Bomb located by attackers.
They circle from above and do some work with that skeleton key on the kitchen floor and hallway floor, rather to try and figure out the location of the members of 1UP. And it's a bit of a belated push as they're going to have to try to go now. And you saw this is 15 seconds slower than 1UP last round. And now Supremacy will smoke out that push. They're going to have to try to take care of those Bandit shock wires, but they don't have a Twitch and they don't have a Thatcher, and that right now is why this looks to be a two-pronged attack. They smoke it off and go inside of the western part of Armory and try to get the plant down. Brid typing away as Bibu looks to see who will push out, and that's a successful plant on the diffuser. Every single member of both teams still alive, and it is going to be absolute mayhem. First kill goes to KS. That's the Legion eliminating Bibu. He managed to get the diffuser down as KS picks up a second kill before getting traded off. Brid, Spark, and Zephyr jumping in, and it's 3v2. Now Brid gets down but not taken out of the fight. I speak too soon. Vale eliminates him. Zephyr will go from above to try and watch, and all they really need to do now is ensure that nobody pushes, and a big double kill from Zephyr as Para and Vale get eliminated. A nice headshot onto the Jaeger, and the Ella gets taken down in the process. And look at that.
So, that round, same exact attack that we saw from 1UP. Supremacy employing it perfectly. Minor difference, they came a lot more from the main stairs instead of the kitchen drop, but that actually caught 1UP off guard, as you could see. They were holding very passively all the way inside of inside of Church and inside of Blue. They had no presence whatsoever in Armory. And because of that, because they were expecting the push to come from the kitchen drop rather than the main stairs, they really had no retake potential.
Defenders protect
In a
your
full
bombs
5-on-5.
from being defused by
It was a nice
attackers.
try though. They almost made it back. It did come down a lot closer than I was expecting it to.
I'm more surprised that 1UP didn't bother to try to get anybody in to stop that plant. Now, they must have known that there was a push coming. You smoked it, and of course, Glaz is a frightening thing to have to contend with if you know your corridors are smoked off. But at the same time, it was a lackluster effort, if I can use that term a second time, for 1UP to try to push into that site, and there wasn't the smoke missed. I think that speaks to the fact that you said it's very difficult to land appropriate smokes on the
10
western
seconds left
side of the
before
basement. Now Supremacy will go once again
5
to the basement and
seconds
try
to
to
go.
make it work. They're going to bring an Echo this time around. They're going to eschew the smoke. The smoke wasn't a big factor
Attackers
last
have
time
recovered their
around,
diffuser.
but they're going to
Attackers
go with the
objective
Pulse
is to
Ella
locate a
combo
bomb.
too, likely to try to hold down Dirt Tunnel as well as Kitchen.
So it looks like the team that is first successful in holding that basement is likely to be the ones who are going to take the map overall. I mean, we'll see. We've been seeing reflections of these teams in each other, and as 1UP starts their clear, they are not going to find anyone as per usual. Vale, considering where he wants to put the Claymore. So that Claymore is very important. It's the only reason that there is such an easily locked down roam game on Clubhouse. It used to be you had to stick a drone or a person to watch the stairs constantly. Now that you have a Claymore, you can apply all 5 of your attackers to just pushing into the site. There is no other way to get up from the basement apart from the main stairs and the ladder, unless you count the run out from construction tunnel, which is, you know, you have to get detected, so it's pretty dangerous.
We saw it a couple times, though, the run out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is doable.
It didn't help.
It did not help at all. They'll get one of the bandit charges, and Bibu knows that there's going to be somebody there, and a very easy push for Thermite. And Bibu poised and ready. A lot of times we will see teams throw the yokai up there, but no, an Ela mine goes up in its place as a form of alarm system so that the Thermite will get, when they trigger it, will be made aware of to Bibu. Hopefully able to go in, and for the time being, still 7 seconds of disorientation from those mines as we exhaust half of the round.
A bomb has been located.
Supremacy in a good spot, but 1UP is doing their typical pick apart of the sites. They're just looking to shock it open what they can and look for any potential angles. Red's going to be playing inside of Armory, though, and will go for a very aggro push there onto Para. Though he's just going to get lit up. That was a little bit foolhardy. All he needs to do is sit here and stay alive, call out information using his heartbeat sensor, but he's playing it on the edge as if he's trying to get his team an early advantage. Finally, he will decide to fall back. Very smart there, but that means no more direct information from the Pulse. Still construction tunnel control in favor of Supremacy, so that will aid them greatly when the eventual push comes out from 1UP onto what is almost certainly going to be the Armory, same as what we've seen many times before. You could see that the Pulse has reserved his C4 in order to try and counteract the actual push when it comes to the kitchen drop, and here it comes.
And Brid was the one last time around who wasted that in almost a bit of state of panic. They're trying to flesh out these defenders. Chaos inside of that dirt tunnel, and once again, all 10 members of this game currently alive. That first Candela will miss, though. The second one will hit just perfectly as Ying gets disoriented. The C4 goes down, manages to miss the ump. Brid almost unable to connect. Hungary will not get lead-off kill this time, but Brid will get paid for by Rips as he takes 2 down with him. Zephyr eliminating Para, and it's 3v3. That diffuser in the hands of Vale, getting planted, and they will stick the landing. Rips a 3rd kill, not KS eliminated from Bibu. The Glaz looking for a 4th, tries to behead Bibu inside a dirt tunnel, but can't land it. Goes for another shot before peeling back.
On the diffuser. Attackers need to protect it.
And they're just going to wait. Spark from above will try to see if anybody is trying to stop the defuse, but they're going to have to try to figure out where Vale is. The Hibana is tucked in safely behind the cabinet. They see her downer, and now it's only up to the Glaz. They need to drop at the same time, and hopefully they'll be able to hold off that DMR. But they are running out of time. Spark starts to defuse. Bibu looking for the Glaz, tries to take out the Ela, rips a 4th. Is he gonna get it? Tries to shoot away, unable to connect, rips the ace, and 1UP takes it. Down go Bibu and Sparks, and that's how you play Glaz.
A beautiful job there from Rips, wiggling his way through the main hallway, taking all of the players in church down, and then simply rotating into blue, controlling all of the sites from blue, and then remaining on the diffuser in the last moments of that round. And a pixel shot through the bomb and boxes to clutch it out. What a round.
Got to imagine that he was getting a little frantic there as he sees the bandits smashing that diffuser, and why are my shots not working?
Well, it was yellow on yellow because the bomb rail is yellow, right? And it's hard to kind of discern him from the color of the heat detector on the scope.
Thermal
detector,
scope. So
thank you.
we were able to in the bracket when we were watching them when they were still Mysterious Monkeys. It was Para who had gotten an ace. So the second time that we capture an ace from this core team, and hey, look, they're up 2-1, and it really did look like Supremacy was going to be able to take it. The scoreboard tells the whole story right now. 5 kills from Rips last round, and still had 3 before that. So this is the Rips show at the moment.
Definitely a claim to fame here for this match, and Supremacy going to be feeling a little bit of sweat right now at this moment. You know, on the map the previous map on Coastline, where 1UP actually managed to get the win. On the previous matchup on Coastline, when 1UP actually managed to win, it was the case that they had to have been feeling comfortable. Supremacy, they had to have been like, yeah, it's fine. We don't really mind if we lose this map. But now they've lost 2 defenses on Basement Clubhouse, and that's scary. That means there's potential for a 5th map in this best of 5.
They have 1 on Basement, though, too. So, I mean, that going in their favor, and I would argue that that was a round that they really should not have lost.
I could concur.
When we say that it's a round they should not have lost, it's not to take away from the fact that 1UP played well, because they did. And Rips, in particular, single-handedly stole that round for his team. But based on the way that the compositions were, and the way that they were laid out, the way that the defenders were placed, the way that the lone attacker was in the final 10 seconds of that round, realistically, it should have been better cover in the Ella. Losing to a Glaz, it's some pinpoint accuracy to be able to hit that small of a hitbox moving at that speed.
Yeah, really props to Rips, but at the same time, Ella, you're supposed to win that fight. And more importantly, didn't need to take the fight as extreme as he did. He could have peeked around the box next to his teammate and only exposed his head, or he could have just not peeked. There were a lot of options there, but chose to instead wide peek, obviously costing the round. Now, Supremacy droning out. Again, no roamers, so they will start their push onto the top above Kitchen. We're expecting the same thing to happen for Supremacy that 1UP just gave us, but interesting thing to note here, Supremacy doesn't have any soft destruction, at least not dedicated in what you would expect in a sledge or a buck. They only have 2 hard destructors, 2 smokes for disruption, and a Thatcher to try and clear out traps, C4s, etc.
And can we talk about how ineffective that echo was?
Yeah, the Yokai drone did absolutely nothing. We've actually been seeing that a lot throughout this matchup. Every time there's an echo, we see him use very little.
It's the bearing 9 that seems to be the only reason why we're seeing an echo.
And it's confusing.
It's very, very confusing. So I'm not certain if we were going to see it stick. We saw him last round or last matchup. We saw him this matchup, and both teams running remarkably similar compositions. And take a look how nice that looks.
That's a graphic bug right there, if I've seen one.
Aliens exist.
Yep. Now, Rid going to be pushing down this main staircase after the Thatcher goes off, assuring that there are no traps at the bottom of the staircase. And Bibu going to be going for a church wall take. This is a huge mix-up from Supremacy. We'll see if it works for them. Bandit's going to try and trick, but he will miss the battery. And Bibu now has the angle onto Dark Box, which is going to force a lot of these church players back, allowing Zephyr to clean them up. He's also going to look all the way over towards Blue, but not be able to hit the headshot onto Jaeger. Para gets a refrag onto Spark in Kitchen. Hungry 1 onto Bibu as he attempts to push the church wall. Hungry now in Dark Spot, looking to hold fast. Rid gets a refrag onto Para, but there's still control over Church, and Raphael's got to be scared of that smoke just next to him. Zephyr's taking out Vale through the smoke, and here comes the plant. Hungry needs to stop this. Can he hear it? It doesn't look like he does. He's instead going to get the Glaz, trying to go over into Moto, but he's the last defender alive with a shotgun from behind. The Rid is too far away, and he's not going to be able to get enough pellets, putting her on to 1 HP. Raphael going to clean up house, though. A very fast round there from Supremacy. Non-stop action as they pushed in through Church Wall. Again, a huge mix-up instead of choosing to come into the Kitchen.
And now every single team has won on attack. I'm not certain what is going on right now,
This
but
is opposite day at Clubhouse.
Opposite day, to say the least. You're supposed to win this site. And I wonder, the teams are constantly losing, Basement. Do you voluntarily go bar stock and see if maybe you can hold it a little harder? Because you take a look, it did look like there was a little bit of indecision from Supremacy, but instead they'll pick Church and Arsenal Room. I suppose that because it is the most preferred site, that they're just not going to bother to chance it and hope that eventually at some point it'll be able to break. And with as telegraphed as these attacks are coming, that was the first bar, or sorry, that was the first Moto and Church Wall push that we've seen so far. So who knows? Maybe they'll be able to contend with it this time.
So Zephyr and Rips, the 2 top fraggers for both teams, and the thing to note about both of them, what do they play? They play Glaz. Zephyr's the Glaz, Rips the Glaz for both of their teams, and they have just been so lucky to be able to utilize smokes that cover off every single angle. That's sorry, not luck. That's just good coordination from both teams to allow their Glaz that opportunity, and they're just picking apart player after player through the smoke. It's working out great, and I think that's a leading cause for these successful attacks. One thing to note on that last round, it's similar to the previous round. It's the sort of round that 1UP probably shouldn't have lost. Hungry was a foot away from the defuse planter. All he needed to do was press his crouch button, stand up, and shoot once with his shotgun on the player planting right in front of him. But he, I guess, didn't hear the plant going down, so that didn't happen. A little unfortunate there for 1UP. But it could have been a good denial.
It sounded like he was disoriented by Ella.
No. Towards the last couple seconds, I don't think he was hit by the flashes. I mean, there might have been some minor ringing, but either way, ringing or no, he didn't hear it, and he didn't deny the plan.
That's 7 seconds that he had as well
Yeah.
to be able to stop it, and unable to figure it out. Now 1UP will storm inside, and almost a minute gone. They know there's going to be no roamers. That's a pretty big given.
Yeah.
And they'll start working away at their strategy to be able to push. Now, for those that don't watch a lot of Clubhouse, usually what you'll have is the buck will be employed, shoot out that wall from above, look through the floors, try to push somebody out of B site itself. That's especially important with the way that they're playing right now. Brit is once again going to look to lose that matchup against Para, even though both of them do get away. Brit is the one who'll be licking his wounds.
Yeah, this is the second time in a round, or in a row rather, that Brit has done that. Peeking onto what Buck opens up and losing half of his HP, but luckily and narrowly getting away with his life. Brit, the newest addition to the Supremacy roster, replacing Alems, he really, I think he's trying to prove himself here, and I understand that. I respect that. He's trying to make a good impression, but he is way, way too aggro inside of back of Armory. His whole role is to stay alive and call out information with that heartbeat detector. You have so much possible information. Instead, he's going for C4s that are just unlikely to hit. He's trying to peek angles that Para are opening up, and it's just risky business.
And we've seen it. He hasn't really been that effective.
No,
Over three rounds in the basement, your pulse is likely supposed to strike fear into the hearts of the attackers in kitchen. And as you can see from above, the pulse has been completely flushed out. Now, this is also, I guess, an accolade directed at 1UP for the fact that they have been successful in pushing him off, but he's being outmatched. That team at some point is going to need to realize to make an adjustment there. 45 seconds, though, in round number 5. And with the exception of, I think, the first round, a lot of these teams now, or both these teams, waiting until the final couple minutes to strike. And Vale, extremely patient. You'll hear one of the mines from Bibu get tossed out, and 1UP, extreme patience. They'll finally buck away at the last of the wood, just underneath that drop hatch, and it was Brit whose C4 had missed last time around, trying to dance around those Candelas. He'll toss it out, but there's nobody there. That's a missed C4 yet again, and KS 2 kills on the Zephyr and Brit before he is traded off by Bibu. That is the Ella pushing in down from Dirt Tunnel and gets a second Bibu 2 before he gets eliminated by Rips. It's a rally from Supremacy, as now it's a 1v1 between Rips and Spark. Same two players from last time around. Will the Glass be able to best the Bandit once again, or will we see our first defensive hold? It's the Glass who holds the site, and Spark looking to try to get in. Rips looks one way, Spark comes in the other, and the MP7 rips through Rips himself, and the first defensive win will come in round number 5, breaking the attacker-only streak, and Supremacy takes their very first lead on Clubhouse.
Also only second round in a row there for Supremacy, and they've got to be feeling very happy about that. See if 1UP are able to replicate it, although it seems unlikely. The attack strategies that Supremacy have been employing, it seems like they have a lot more versatile thought process here on Clubhouse. So they can either go to that church wall again, or they can attack from the drop downs, as we've seen both teams do quite a lot.
First, so you've got Supremacy up. If they're able to win on attack, they'll move to match point, but then they have to defend the dreaded bar and stock, which could potentially throw it back to 1UP. But what did Supremacy do right there, from your opinion? And what did they do to break the stalemate that was the defense winning?
Well, of course, we have to analyze the fact that 1UP picked apart Supremacy's hold quite well in that round. We had KS coming up from blue, doing a ton of damage. But I think the ultimate thing that allowed the recovery there for Supremacy was the fact that they were playing much more aggro than they used to on that defense. You saw the Dirt Tunnel player, instead of hiding inside of Dirt Tunnel for the entire round, which we've seen a lot of from both teams, get aggressive and start pushing out. Also managed to deal with KS, who was coming from blue, before taking out one of the main diffuse planting covers. So that was a good job there. Blue control in favor of neither team as well. After KS was eliminated and he took out the blue players, it wasn't something that was utilized by the attack, which, as you remember, it was, I think it was Zephyr, right, who got the ace on that round. He managed to get that ace because he had blue, which gives you so much control.
So another thing I noticed was when they dropped Kitchen, there wasn't a lot of pressure applied to the eastern side of Armory, or Arsenal rather, and that left Bibu unchallenged inside a Dirt Tunnel. He got the very first kill as the drop happened, and then was able to get the Hibana of, I believe it was Vale, if I remember correctly, as well, because there was nobody covering those angles. Now, yes, it was a good push from 1UP down the main hallway from bottom of stairs, but there just wasn't enough coverage there, and Supremacy was able to pick off two that were pushing in through the site itself, and then that was leaving the Glaz all alone, who was able to take a couple down with him.
I mean,
Rips
we
has
can't-
looked really good, but
Yeah, we can't say that Rips is his fault he lost that round. If we're being honest, Rips is the standout performer overall for this entire match.
yes, and it was, of course, Rips who got the ace. He and Zephyr have been trading back and forth on Glaz, and now 1 minute gone. I like that teams still spend as much time as they do droning away because
You have to.
You have to. There is always an opportunity that they could switch it up and drone. There's nothing that you can take for granted here, especially on a matchup like this when you are on championship points still for Supremacy.
I remember Slashug way back would sit inside of the back when Valkyrie Shotgun was ridiculous. He would sit inside of the bar that you see the drone just looking at there, the main bar upstairs, and catch teams off guard because they failed to drone it out. You can sit in one of the cabinets and then pop out in the middle of the round and suddenly 3 flank kills. So you definitely need to drone every single nook and cranny upstairs. Now, Supremacy have top floor control, no roamers again, and they're going to start opening up the floor, looking for their angles. The same thing is being played out here that it always has. The main importance of these rounds is the last 30 seconds almost every single time, and it looks like Supremacy are going for a church wall attack once again. It worked out great for them last time, but this time there's a Bandit who's trying to juggle the church wall. Thatcher is here, but Bandit is not hard pressed to juggle this wall. If I may be so honest, if I'm gonna be honest, yeah, it's not a difficult thing. The reason being, hitting those nades are extremely difficult. As you see the Buck miss one nade just now, it's gonna actually delay the round for the attack even more.
Exothermic charge will go up on the church wall, and it looks like he's all out of charges, so that wall will get blown wide open. The Bandit, though, scampers out of the way. A lot of that toxic gas inhaled by Glaz. First kill goes to Para, showing the proficiency of Ela, and it's a double kill from Para as Hungry jumps in. Raphael gets the first kill for Supremacy, but they still trail. It's 4v2 in favor of 1UP at the moment. Both they are blinded by that Candela. Hungry eliminates Bibu, and now it's just Raphael, who has almost no health whatsoever. The Ying does hold the diffuser, but will be extremely exposed. The red dot site, though, giving away that one push, but Hungry, he was hungry for some kills, and 1UP will equalize. They managed to hold on defense, and the very first defensive win for them will once again tie us up. So we have at least 2 rounds of bar in a row.
So all of the fizzle from those attacks into the basement wearing out for these two teams, and neither of them allowing a lead. No distinct lead. No, the only 2 rounds we saw in a row were from Supremacy, and it looks like we might see another round or another 2 rounds in a row, this time in favor of 1UP, as they have to attack onto a bar stockroom. However, I say that, and we haven't seen bar stockroom yet. So it's entirely possible that Supremacy are going to be feeling pretty comfortable here because they're going to have something up their sleeves, some unknown strat that will allow them to keep Supremacy on their toes. Or excuse me, 1UP on their toes, rather. We're going to see, though, as this round plays out, we are actually having a very similar lineup from 1UP. Lots of smokes, lots of hard destruction. They have brought a sledge instead of a Thatcher.
One point I want to make. I think we have seen more Ying Glaz over the last 5 days than we did previously paired together.
I don't want to say that we've seen more Glaz just himself, but because remember when Glaz received the thermal scope for the first time, he was
Ying
ridiculous.
Glaz together.
Yeah, Ying Glaz together, you're absolutely right. Unquestionably. No debate there. I think these qualifiers, especially in the European region, have definitely been a lot of Ying and Glaz.
And it's very difficult to stop. And, you know, we saw a lot of Ying being used on Oregon. There were a couple questions as to how was it going to work to try to stop that push. Ela was pretty important in that because you could use her mines to be able to halt that push. You saw that there were some nitro cells that were being thrown from Closet now, and as well smoke too.
Yeah, so it looks like 1UP in this round are going to be going for a club attack here onto the far west side of things before opening up the wall into pool table or billiards. Now it's going to be a struggle. As you can see, Spark is attempting to juggle here on the west side wall. And he's not going to be successful, actually. I think he gets it down too late. The wall will open and Spark is forced out of that position now entirely.
It was good coordination from 1UP. I don't know how Spark took so long. It looked like he had some hesitation. When those X-Kyro started to go off, he knew that he would be exposed if he had put it down and opted, I think, smartly to get out of there, because we've seen a couple times the hilarity of a of an exothermic charge claiming a life,
Yeah.
just simply due to bad timing on the Bandits' part. But they
bomb
managed to
has been
flush out Strip already, and you gotta say that Bibu's Vault cams are going to be very important as we move forward in the rest of the round.
So with control of Club Room, now 1UP is going to be not that hard pressed to take a push into Billiards. There is going to be a position, of course, by those tables that Supremacy will be trying to utilize to deny that push. They also have a Yokai drone from Raphael, so there's a lot of utility on Supremacy still. 1UP's going to need to use their vertical control inside of Master, but they're going to be very passive on that. Not actually going into Gym, just playing from above in the drop down, which means Spark can play safely on the A bomb itself. Raphael going to be using his drone from afar. He also can get a very long angle onto the party room from inside of stock.
They'll get the wall inside of pool table or Billiards, and KS looks to see if there's anybody unwise enough to push out. Para, wow, rips right through Bibu. That SMG-11 takes no prisoners whatsoever, and that'll give an advantage in favor of the attackers. But a rotate from Zephyr as he'll now rush inside, but very, very quickly his position was given away, and out comes the SMG-11 as the sledge of Para looks for another victim. That's going to be two extremely formidable weapons squaring off against each other. Some slight sledging from above, and now Zephyr finds himself in the unenviable position of being cut off and being held from two angles, setting up for a trade. Could potentially peak. It's both Vale and Para there, and manages to eliminate the sledge, but will he see the Hibana? No, Vale perfectly set up to get the trade in a crossfire. Down goes Zephyr, still gets an advantage as Hungry, completely blinded, manages to eliminate Spark. And 1UP now with a significant advantage, needs to stop that diffuser. Oh, the defenders win as a Yokai Blast at the last second halts the plant, and what a play by Supremacy as they now move to match point.
A beautiful Yokai from Supremacy and an unexpected defense win on the bar. What seemed to be, it would seem to be through and through a 1UP round slipped away in just because of time. That was vicious, honestly. The Yokai drone perfectly positioned. Now, 1UP is going to have to defend bar themselves to avoid match point here. And actually, not only is it match point, but it's also technically series point. So if 1UP can't successfully defend a Clubhouse bar, they just lose like that because of a Yokai drone.
Oh, you think that you diminish it a little bit when you say just a Yokai drone? I think
It
more
was
than
a
anything,
beautiful Yokai drone.
it was a great Yokai drone, but on my end, it was more that 1UP waited way too long to get the Ella upstairs of Zephyr, and by the time they finally did, you really only had 3 members on that site to make much of a push.
You're absolutely right. Overall, though, it was just time in general. Their time management with Zephyr was bad. They could have just put someone on the flank hold and made the push a little bit sooner instead of thinking too much about it, which they certainly did. But it was, I think a lot of it had to do with their strip take too. They spent a whole minute outside of strip. It was barely even noticeable because we're used to it at this point, attacking onto the basement, but they spent a whole minute there waiting for no discernible reason. Then they got the wall open with no effort, then they had control over strip, and then the push should have been pretty simple, right? But it wasn't. They spent a lot of time just waiting inside of Strip Club, not accomplishing much of anything before pushing into Master late. You always sync up your Master push with your Strip push, and they simply didn't do that.
For those curious about what Spark was doing there, because a lot of teams do save their drones knowing where the defense will go, they might not have a full idea of what the defensive operators are. We can see in the top left-hand corner that there is no Valkyrie. However, Spark does not know that. Was checking for a Valkyrie cam because it's very common, especially for Blackbeard, as he spawns just outside of Kennels to get pushed and a spawn peak. Now, Raphael did see the feet of the Bandit above, and he's going to try to take some of the health away, but looks like he's just out of reach, waiting to see if the Bandit will maneuver back.
Still 2 minutes here for Supremacy, but it looks like it's going to be a clear-cut stock take as they attempt to open up. Yeah, Bandit's far off there. They are going to open up this lounge wall, which will afford them a very important angle. This wall being open means that any attackers inside of Garage can cut off the rotation between the two sites. Now, there is a roamer upstairs inside of the Master office looking to try and light up Grid from afar.
And Vale does have it does look like he has enough in that wall to be able to rotate. It looks like he's trying to work away at it more. One of the biggest issues with Zephyr was that he gave his position away last time on defense. You are capable of rotating there quickly without, especially if you're 3-speed, without the attackers knowing, rather. And now you can see it's going to likely be a stock push. Spark inside, watching that garage angle perfectly, using the wall as cover. That Blackbeard shield will eat a couple bullets before it gets busted up, but usually that's enough to at least try to trade off a kill or at least knock him down but not out.
50 seconds now, and you can see that 1UP is looking for some frags. They're trying to establish domination, but they're not going to be able to find them because there's no one in a position to do so. Bibu, a beautiful play, takes out Rips, perfectly meleeing that door and catching Rips off guard. Now that's any retake from the main doorway denied for 1UP, but they're going to get a refrag onto Zephyr. Last 30 seconds, and here comes the push.
KS goes to rotate inside into the smoke and goes back out. They have firm control of Stockroom. The smoke will stop Sparks. Raphael doesn't look like he's in the gas, but ends up getting taken down as Brit eliminates Vale, but Para there to clean up. Now Bibu comes inside, tries to take the smoke down. The SMG-11 rips through him. Para eliminates Raphael, and a 3v1. A big 3K from Para will push us to overtime as a successful hold on Bar and Stock for 1UP means extra innings between these two teams.
1UP not giving up yet, and beautiful job there. That all comes down to the successful retake of the top floor. You saw they had a lot of options up there, and two roamers, including Para, who was playing the Ella, who rotated from master side to cache side, managed to get the buck, and then managed to dominate the site from above using the buck's own holes. That is pretty much the linchpin of that defense. If it weren't for that, I feel like they would have struggled a lot more on the retake, just trying to challenge a Blackbeard frontally.
Also, that smoke that did not look like it had started to affect Vale stopped him as he went to go down in a plane.
Yeah.
Just overall, a really good play by the smoke on that way, to prevent them from happening. Now, as merit of the coin toss, the game decides where people go, and 1UP is going to have the misfortune of defending twice. And that, so far, if you look at the rounds right now, should favor Supremacy, as they have done better on attack.
So here's the thing, 1UP has actually, I feel, been at the disadvantage for a lot of situations on this map so far. I mean, they were the first team to lose 2 in a round here on Clubhouse, or two in a row, excuse me, on Clubhouse, which is very dangerous. But they still managed to push it into overtime, and sure, they got the unlucky draw with defending both times, but they could still, I still think they have the chance. I mean, that last round, I thought Supremacy was going to win. They had all of the control. They opened up the garage wall. They denied the rotation. They started laying down smokes, went for the plant. But, well, good plays from 1UP allowed them to retake.
We'll see if they are able to be the 1UP of the latter half of this match, which was the one that looked good on defense, or the 1UP in the beginning half, which didn't look quite so good. So, and they will hope that they can successfully defend here and then have to go to attack, because they are, I would say as a team, very formidable on attack just because of the way that their players are able to play, especially on this matchup. Now the story being told, 1UP's map is Clubhouse, so this is the current defenders' favored map, and it would be unfortunate for them, and also the final round, the final map between the two if Supremacy wins, because as you said, we are on series point.
Right you are. Now, droning, all the typical hoo-ha coming out here on Clubhouse. Nothing special, no roamers, no surprises in a position, it seems, for Supremacy. And Brit is going to be looking to open those angles in towards the kitchen. Now, there is no pulse on 1UP. They haven't been bringing it, unlike Brit has rounds past. So they're going to instead bring a Legion, who is going to get lit up thanks to good buck play by Brit.
And this is, so Brit usually plays the pulse beneath the kitchen against the buck, and I don't know why it's interesting to see that there's no pulse and no buck for the defenders. Not necessary, but often preferred by a lot of teams. And yes, Brit, a good heads-up play that will take a lot of KS's health down, and will still do some more shots from above. And look at how up front both Rips and Para are playing right now.
If any attacker just decides to come down the main stairs, I mean, he might die if the defenders choose to get aggressive onto those main stairs, but he'll definitely be refragged by Brid above him. So there's that's gonna force those two roamers. I guess we can call them roamers playing on those stairs. That's gonna force them back into the site before the Ella starts to get lit up from above. A missed nade by Brid. Huge mistake there. That could have been quite a lot of damage, as we've seen happen previously every time that nade has come out. A very common position on the B bomb site, so easily dealt with via that nade.
And he hit Para
Bomb
with just a
located by
tiny
attackers.
fraction of his health with that skeleton key as he was trying to open up the floor, which is what made Para get out of the way. Well-timed smokes, and they are perfect to stop this drop. It will be a toxic fall, and you can see it looked like Brid was taking some damage. Para, the disorientation from everybody as Raphael breathes in some of those toxic gas, tries to get out of the way. First kill goes to Spark, Raphael adds in, and Hungry, a team kill. Oh no, you can't be doing that. But Vale makes up for it by eliminating Raphael and gets a second onto Brid. Now it's Zephyr versus Hungry, and it's a 3v1. It's the Jaeger trying to contend with 3 attackers and gets 1 on Bibu from above. So Vale, a terrific round at the moment, trying to eliminate the other 2. All they need to do is wait as we get close to the halfway mark, but the attackers prevail, and it looks like it was the 1-up of the first 4 rounds, then the latter 4, Zephyr around the corner, and Supremacy back on match and series point.
Very dangerous here for 1UP. Now they're going to have to attack onto the basement as well, and they have so far only showed us 1 attack strategy up their sleeves. So, will they be able to make a mix-up, or is the same old reliable that just worked for Supremacy going to work for 1UP in this case? Only time will tell, of course, as we see Supremacy go back downstairs. Now that last round, it seemed like Supremacy had good control from above, but 1UP, they were doing things oddly. They positioned themselves in a way where they were trying to retake through the smokes, through the candelas, and that's actually why we saw that gas canister get a team kill. I believe it was just by the B bomb site. The person who got team killed was prone, completely flashed, inside the smoke, looking to pounce, but the gas canister was also right on top of him. So unfortunate miscommunication there. If 1UP was trying to get aggressive, maybe also communicate that to your team and say, hey, throw your gas canisters a little bit deeper. That might have been the intention, but unfortunately it wasn't the result. And we are going to be seeing Raphael on that Echo instead of a smoke. Much more direct denial of the defuse plan from Supremacy. That might work out better for them.
Attackers have recovered.
We have seen, though, that Supremacy, when going back to attack, which if they fail to win this one, they can attack from also Church as well, and I believe it was Church when they were successful on last time around. As for Supremacy now on defense, they'll bring the Echo out, and I feel like we had said earlier that the Echo was not really useful, and then what happened on Bar Stock? He wins the round off single-handedly, so we'll see.
Very narrowly.
Well, and I think that it's more that Echo doesn't see as much significant usage downstairs as he does upstairs. This isn't a really Echo-friendly map for a number of reasons. Number one, it's very difficult for you able to position him because of all the pipes and vents going through the ceiling, and that makes a pretty big difference too.
I mean, when you're in the armory, it's a pretty clear ceiling. You know, specifically in the armory, it's just a white wall, and it's actually really easy to make out the yokai drone from the rest of the environment. So sure, you're going to get one charge off, but then it's going to get shot almost immediately. Yeah, it's not an amazing sight to be playing Echo on, but they did bring him for his shotgun. Even if you could have gotten that with smoke, I understand that. At least in this case, you aren't going to get any team kills by virtue of those gas canisters.
And the Glaz of Rips is not to be ignored, and I think he is going to be the most pivotal player at the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Him and Hungry combined, the Glaz Ying strat that has proved to be so successful, that has made the attackers so strongly favored, typically lends itself to being played out the exact same way every time they push.
I mean, it's the same thing for Supremacy. The Glaz on Zephyr, I mean, if you could take a look at the scoreboard briefly there, we can see the score is Zephyr and Rips. They're the Glaz players. They have been the ones to stand out. Now, 1UP setting themselves up to make the final push as they look to clear out some barbed wire using those nades. Very smart placement there. They're going to be going into Blue, Moto, and Kitchen Drop all at once, it seems. There is Paul still alive inside of Armory, and he's going to be calling out a lot of this information for his team before making the final fall back to the back of Armory, as we have seen him do many times before. He's going to be on the far east cabinet.
This is the best that we've seen Brid play Pulse, though. He's played it patiently, he hasn't overextended himself, hasn't used that nitro early, and hasn't tried to take out the feet of the buck. A lot of times, it often results in him losing a portion of his health, but now he's just going to stick behind that case inside of Arsenal Room. And I would usually say this is the time for you to start smoking, and Rips hears the call. He'll head down inside of Moto, push in through to Church, and gets another smoke off as you can hear the Candelas rattle away through the halls of Arsenal. Hungry completely disoriented. Spark jumps up. The glass is down, but Chaos is still up, and he eliminates Brid. Bibu waiting for the run out. Zephyr takes down Chaos, and now Bibu comes in. He gets the Ying. Para jumps up, and down goes Spark. It's all up to the Buck and Hibana for the attackers as Supremacy looks to hold on. They're going to go around the corner. They stop it, and a rally from Supremacy. The French will be represented in Montreal as they win 3-1 and 5 or 6-4 in this particular matchup.
An absolutely extremely close round there, a nail-biter to be sure. A huge mistake from Vale. After his teammate died who was covering his plant, he got off the plant. He did not continue to plant. That's why you saw it go past 7 seconds there for Vale. He had to go back in for a second attempt, which allowed the defense so much room for a retake. And overall, obviously allowed Supremacy to win the 3-1 overall.
And we will see them there. So the highest